to last week of the regular season and a few blocks south of downtown Seattle, CenturyLink Field, where the Seahawks come onto the field, all set to meet the Chiefs on Sunday Night Football.
Just getting started. Been waiting all day. Let's go. The game's all here for a throwdown. A rowdy crowd rocking the place. Chiefs and the Hawks in a showdown. Fired up and ready to play. Game on. Hey, it's Sunday night. Game on. Hey, turn up the lights. America's game on NBC, the only place to be. Game on! Game on! It's Sunday night. Oh, America's game on NBC, the only place to be. Game on! Game on! It's Sunday night. It's Sunday night. It's Sunday night.
It's the NFL's version of a boombox. CenturyLink Field in Seattle, and we're ready for a terrific matchup as Russell Wilson and the Seahawks are set to go head-to-head with Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday Night Football. Al Michaels with Chris Collinsworth, Michelle DeVoy. A lot at stake tonight. The Chiefs with a win clinch home field advantage throughout the AFC playoffs. Seattle clinches a wild card berth. Now with Kansas City, you know, an explosive offense, but a very leaky defense. They play in a ton of wild shootouts. And Patrick Mahomes, what more can you say? He could be the league's MVP. He's on pace to throw for over 5,000 yards and about 50 touchdown passes. Now, Seattle started the season 0-2. Pete Carroll has done a masterful job getting them back into playoff contention. Russell Wilson having another banner season, and this team leads the NFL in rushing on this next to last week of the year. So, Chris, we have had a lot of really great matchups at quarterback this year. Here's another beauty.
Yeah, and I think these two guys about as exciting as it gets. Both of them are constantly looking for the big plays, but Seattle goes about it a little bit differently. They want to run the football first, go to the play action off of it, where Patrick Mahomes, it's showtime right from the very beginning. But both guys will remind you just exactly why you love football.
Let's go inside the matchup. You've been great at this the last few weeks, by the way. What are the keys to the game tonight?
I think it's about the pace. I really do. The Chiefs tend to explode out of the blocks. They've scored 46 more points than their opponents in the first quarter, so they want to get right after it. The Seahawks, on the other hand, they'd rather that pace be a little bit slower. They want to get to the running game, get to the play action. Whoever controls the pace, I think, wins the game.
We'll have a little rocking and rolling tonight. Maybe throwing a little grunge, too. From Seattle on Sunday Night Football.
It's Sunday night.
Sunday Night Football is brought to you by Subway, now delivering to your front door, and of the National Football League.
'Twas 2 nights before Christmas, and all through Seattle, the 12s were all stirring for a most important battle. With Patrick Mahomes, the Chiefs have been soaring. Could the Hawks find a way to limit their scoring? At CenturyLink Field, there arose such a clatter, Coach Carroll proclaimed, "Get louder and louder." Then he whistled and shouted and called out their names. On Wilson and Wagner, we must win this game. Now Al's in the booth with Chris and his slide. Michelle's on the field working both sides. So sit back and enjoy. Call friends down the hall. It's Sunday Night Football, the best gift of all.
And speaking of Michelle on the field, here she is.
Well, Al, tonight there's a little bit of coal in the stocking of Seattle's rushing offense, which is the most productive in the NFL. They have an entirely new right side of their offensive line. Ethan Posick becomes the 4th Seahawk to start at right guard, and George Fant, who has spent most of the season as a 6th offensive lineman, will start at right tackle. Now, defensively, they'll try to slow Patrick Mahomes and company without starting safety Tedrick Thompson. He'll be replaced by Delano Hill, who's making his first NFL start. As for the Chiefs, they're without a couple regulars on defense. Safety Ron Parker, who started the first 14 games, is inactive due to coach's decision. And top corner Kendall Fuller, who had thumb surgery 9 days ago, is also inactive, Al.
Thank you, Michelle. Century Link Field, and one of the traditions here is the raising of the banner, the 12th man. It's an honor, and it goes tonight to a retired Seahawk who spent his last 5 years of his career in Seattle, part of their Super Bowl championship team. The defensive end, Cliff Averill, gets the honor tonight. The place is jumping, it always is. And there's a little rivalry between these two teams. Which stadium is louder, Century Link or Arrowhead? Seattle won the toss. They have elected to defer. Sebastian Janikowski, been around for 19 years. Long-time Raider. Tremont Smith, who had a 97-yard run back earlier this season against New England, back to receive, and off we go. Big game in Seattle tonight, and we begin with a touchback. Let's take a look at the Kansas City offense.
Patrick Mahomes II, Texas Tech University.
Damian Williams, Mary Mesa High School.
Tyreek Hill, Pearson, Georgia. DeMarcus Robinson, University of Florida.
Chris Conley, Georgia.
Travis Kelce, Cleveland Heights, Ohio.
Eric Fisher, Fire Up Chips.
Jeff Allen, Illinois.
Mitch Morse, Missouri.
Andrew Wiley, Eastern Michigan.
Mitchell Schwartz, Cal.
An offense that leads the league in yards and points. You saw Mitchell Schwartz there in his 7th year. The right tackle has never missed a snap. And they begin with a little toss back to Tyreek Hill. And Hill gets stopped a yard or two shy of the first down. Travis Kelce led the way with the block. It'll be 2nd down and short.
Well, you'll get used to this pretty quickly. There's always misdirection. This time it comes all the way around the top here with Tyreek Hill. And talking to some of the Seattle defensive players, they said, yeah, Patrick Mahomes is great, but the guy we probably spent the most time trying to figure out how to control him, Tyreek Hill.
And there he is, 2nd down and 2. Kelce moves over to the left side in the slot. Keeps it, and then it's deflected on the pass. KJ Wright, who has missed most of the season, is there to knock it down. 3rd and 2. Mahomes' stats are otherworldly right now. 4,543 passing yards, so he should get to 5,000. A 4-to-1 TD interception ratio, and that pass rating near the top of the league. The average pass rating in the league is 93. Andy Reid looking on.
There's the old baseball player side-arming one in there. Couldn't get it around the veteran, though.
Dad, of course, was a pitcher for 11 years in the major leagues. 3rd down and 2. Mahomes steps up, feels the pressure. Out of the pocket he goes, deep downfield. And it is incomplete at the 20-yard line. Intended for DeMarcus Robinson. Shaquille Griffin back to knock it away, and it's 4th down.
Well, we've seen Mahomes do this all season long and come up with big plays. But watching the Seahawks practice, they would have their quarterback in practice scramble around for 6 or 7 seconds so their guys could get used to staying on these receivers longer than usual.
Dustin Colquitt in his 14th season as a Kansas City Chief. Sends it skyward at the 20-yard line. Tyler Lockett. He'll get knocked down at the 24. The ball is out. The ball is out, but they're going to say that he was down. Well, I tell you what, you stop Kansas City 3 and out. That doesn't happen very often. They lead the league in first quarter points. This is close at the end of the play here. Was he down?
Still not down. The ball is coming out.
Yeah, it's coming out. Well, Seattle recovered it, so even if you challenged it, it was recovered by Trey Flowers, so Seattle would keep the ball, period. Seahawks begin their opening drive back at the 22. Russell Wilson in his 7th season hands the ball off to Chris Carson, having a great year. He may reach 1,000 rushing yards this year. Eric Berry makes the tackle. So Russell Wilson, 3rd-round draft choice back in 2011. Been to the Super Bowl twice, won once. Look at his numbers. A 5-to-1 touchdown interception ratio. The rating is terrific. And he's made the playoffs in every year but one. That was last year when they faded down the stretch, even though they finished 9-7. 2nd down and 9. And again, this is Carson, the 7th-round draft choice back in 17, as we take a look at the Seahawk offense.
Russell Wilson from a whole pack of Badgers.
Chris Carson, Oklahoma State.
Doug Baldwin, Stanford University.
Tyler Lockett, Carver Middle School.
Nick Van Nett, The Ohio State University.
Ed Dixon, Oregon.
Dwayne Brown, Virginia Tech.
J.R. Sweezy, NC State. Justin Britt, LHS, MIT. Ethan Posick, LSU.
George Fant, Western Kentucky University.
So 3rd down and 8. Wilson likes to say from a whole pack of Badgers. Spent 3 years in North Carolina State as his action up front. But he had more fun in his 1 year at Wisconsin. That's why he says he's from a whole pack of Badgers. Well, Bill Vinovich, we haven't seen him in a week. Done a few Sunday night games this year.
Start. Offense number 77. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
Now that's Posick, Ethan Posick, and Michelle talked about him at the top, filling in on the offensive front. Ton of penalties last week. They had 14 with 148 penalty yards at San Francisco, and it pretty much cost them the game when the 49ers won it in overtime.
You know, all those injuries on the offensive line is probably going to cost them the use of a 6th offensive lineman that they love to do to get their running game going.
More than any team in the league by far. So it's 3rd and 13 now. Wilson out of the pocket. He can run. You all know that. And Wilson's going to pick up the 1st down and a few more. Out of bounds at the 38-yard line for the guy who led the team in rushing last year because of all of the injuries to the running backs. 19 yards there.
We show it to you with Aaron Rodgers all the time, but when you rush 4, there are going to be seams in that defense, no matter what you do, because there are 6 different gaps you have to cover, and Russell Wilson takes advantage of it as well as anybody in all of football. His eyes never drop down to take a look. He can just feel it.
From the 38-yard line. Wilson deep down the left sideline. That's incomplete. Intended there for Doug Baldwin. And we'll take a look right now at the Kansas City defense.
Chris Jones, Mississippi State.
Derek Nutty, Florida State.
Allen Bailey, University of Miami. Justin Houston, Georgia.
Anthony Hitchens, Iowa.
Reggie Ragland, Alabama.
D. Ford, Auburn.
Steve Nelson, Oregon State University. Eric Berry, Tennessee.
Daniel Sorensen, BYU.
Tremont Smith, Central Arkansas.
Great to see Berry back. Torn Achilles opening day last year and did not play this year until last week against the Chargers. 2nd and 10. Wilson under pressure. Buying time. Fires. And that's going to be caught by Baldwin. Inside Kansas City territory at the 46 for a guy who's been oft injured this year, has never been 100%, but Doug Baldwin just keeps doing it. 16 yards there, 1st down.
Well, we've got some rookies playing in this one. Shavarius Ward over on the far left-hand side here is going to have to match up in this game because of the injury to Kendall Fuller. And as we were talking about the scrambling and the movement before, it's not enough to simply cover these wide receivers of the Seattle Seahawks for 3 or 4 seconds with Russell Wilson playing quarterback.
Bring the fullback in. The fullback is Trey Madden. He'll lead the way for Carson. And Carson stays in bounds, 1st down, and he picks up a lot more as well. And Chris Carson shoved out of bounds at the end, but he's okay. And there he goes for a gain of 17.
Well, once again, you have young players on the back end, and Chris Carson, who really was tremendous a week ago, but that's the kick returner, Tremont Smith, coming up and trying to make a tackle. They got an advantage in getting Eric Berry back, but this young man right here, Chris Carson, has turned into one of the great power runners in football this year.
Late 7th round pick last year. Through the middle to the 23 goes Carson. Carson last year, Pete Carroll loved him, even though he was picked in the 7th round. He almost became Mr. Irrelevant. That goes to the guy who gets picked last. Almost became a free agent as well. But he was a guy who last year earned the starting job. Then he got hurt in the 4th game, was gone for the rest of the season. They went out in the draft and picked a running back, but Carson said, I'll take the competition. He beat out Rashad Penny, who is inactive tonight. And Madden stays in the game fullback, and this time it's Mike Davis, and he'll pick up a first down before he is taken down at the 12-yard line. Berry and Hitchens are able to stop him there. So this team that leads the league in rushing has already rushed for 55 yards on this drive.
And here's Kansas City's problem right here. You'll see Fant come down and then seal off the inside linebacker. The linebackers for the Kansas City Chiefs can be slow to get down into those gaps. And if they're that way tonight, the Seahawks have run all over everybody all season, and they will do the same to this Chiefs defense.
Davis, boy, he gets taken down hard at the 10-yard line. It'll be 2nd and 7. So Darrell Bevell had been here for years, but he was let go, and Brian Schottenheimer takes over as the offensive coordinator. Much like his dad, loves to run the ball.
Yeah, but they came out and got sacked 12 times in the first 2 games, and they had a little sit down with Pete Carroll. And Pete said, we're going to run the ball a little bit more here, and they've done it, and it's really worked out great.
J.D. McKissick is now the back. Flip it to him. McKissick around the corner, and Volks out of bounds at about the 2-yard line. Ward is there to stop him. Needed to get just inside the 3 for a first down. They're going to be looks like maybe a little bit short where they spot it.
Nice job by David Moore, the wide receiver, sealing that block on the outside. And George Fant, that would not be good for the Seahawks tonight. He is the replacement tackle. Let's take a look. You'll see the crack block down here by David Moore, allowing Fant to get out around the edge. And just sort of slipped.
So he has to come out for at least one play as he hobbles over toward the sideline. There he is there.
Well, that left ankle looked like it rolled over a little bit. And
so Elijah Nkanza comes in.
He was just added.
Rookie out of Toledo. Yeah, just activated. They spot the ball right there at the 3. And Vinovich looks over, and they're going to bring. They did bring the sticks in, and they'll put them right down where they were. So it's going to be 3rd down and inches. This fan goes over to the bench. And we'll take him into the tent. Carson back in there. 11th play of the opening drive for the Seahawks. And Carson, like last week, it looks like he's stopped, and he gets the touchdown. Man, oh man, what a run he had last week in San Francisco. This wouldn't equal that, but he just keeps on going. 2nd and 3rd effort, and then he goes for the score.
Al, you called it exactly right, and that's why Pete Carroll loved him from the start. Watch him as he comes in here, and he almost has to bounce it twice to get out and around, but you can think this guy is on the ground. He is not. One of my favorite stories about him was one of his college teammates that asked him one time, how is it a guy that can squat 600 pounds? I've never seen him run over anybody. He took it personally, and he's been taking it out on everybody in the NFL.
Janikowski for the extra point. So the big play on the drive, that 3rd and 13, 19-yard run by Russell Wilson to keep it going. They go 78 yards in 11 plays to take the lead.
I think those are the biggest biceps that have ever played the piano.
Yes. So 7-0 Seahawks. Short kick will be returned by Tremont Smith from the 9. Up to the 26, and the ball is out. Big scramble. And no signal yet. They'll have to get to the bottom of this one. Seahawks, of course, think they have it. But that'll be up to the officiating crew. Here comes Vinovich. No, they don't have it. Kansas City retains. Okay, so next week is week 17, and just our game. There it is. The Sunday night game is going to be Indianapolis at Tennessee. The winner of that game will be a wild card. The loser is out. And we'll have the entire week 17 schedule for you shortly, but that'll be the final game of the season. That's Sunday Night Football next week. Colts at Titans. From the 25-yard line, the running back is Damian Williams. You know that Kareem Hunt was let go after the video surfaced with him weeks ago. So he went out. Spencer Ware took his place, but Ware is also hurt. He's out. So it's Williams, the former Dolphin, who's looked good so far and looks good right here as he skirts the sideline and he steps out of bounds near midfield.
Going to see that obviously trying to get to the outside zone, but he's going to take advantage and cut this thing up. They had 8 down in the box, and really Seattle's coming out very aggressive against this Kansas City Chiefs offense. They're playing man-to-man coverage, getting right in their face, and he did tippy-toe down that line.
That's a gain of 25, who he takes it from the 25 to the 50. That's Hill in motion. Fake the hand, pass comes out here to Williams. And Williams picks up about 6 yards. Here's the Seattle defense.
Quentin Jefferson, D. Woodland Hills High School.
Jaron Reed, Alabama. Shamar Stephen, UConn.
Frank Clark, Michigan. Parkevius Mingo, LSU.
Bobby Wagner, D. Utah State. KJ Wright, Mississippi State.
Shaquille Griffin, Central Florida.
Bradley McDougal, Kansas University.
Delano Hill, Michigan.
Trey Flowers, Converse Judson.
Bobby Wagner, the heart and soul of that defense. He'll be going to his 5th consecutive Pro Bowl. There he is, fabulous season. Again, 2nd and 3. Mahomes the pump fake. Bryant time comes back the other way, and that's incomplete. Intended for Kelsey. That's Delano Hill staying right with the great tight end. 3rd down and 3.
You know, Al, it's interesting that with the single return of one guy, KJ Wright, we're starting to see the Seattle Seahawks defense go back to some of their core philosophies here. KJ Wright, like we saw him in the Super Bowl, out wide playing man-to-man coverage. I think just having him back in the lineup is opening up this defensive playbook.
Well, he's only played in 3 games this season because of knee issues. Came back in the middle of the year, then went out again, and back tonight, 3rd down and 3, and they toss it back to Damian Williams, and he will move the sticks, and Wagner's there to knock him down at the 35. So Hunt was maybe going to lead the league in rushing as he did last year. Ware got hurt, and then they picked up Williams, who last year was with Miami. In fact, he scored a touchdown on Sunday Night Football when we were there last year out of Oklahoma.
Now, this has not been a great year for high-money sort of running backs looking like they're needed. We saw it in Pittsburgh, and now we're seeing it again in Kansas City.
Now their other back, also Williams, no relation, Darrell, a rookie out of LSU. They send him out into the flat, and Mahomes launches one, and 2 deep, intended for Kelsey, who'd gotten free. Travis had beaten the coverage, and Mahomes has started the game 1 for 5.
Boy, this is not good here at all. Totally a blown coverage, and we saw the Seahawks have some issues last week. This is a 2-deep zone, and there should be a little more help than that. Over there, there is nobody. We saw some real communication problems a week ago for Seattle, and now with all these new faces back in the secondary, it looks like it's starting the same way again.
Second and 10. Mahomes is chased, throws, and that's incomplete. It's dropped. That's Demetrius Harris, number 2 tight end. Pressure that time put on by Frank Clark, and that's nothing new. Leads Seattle with 12 sacks. It's 3rd and 10.
You know, Al, I really thought this game was going to be great for Kansas City no matter how it came out. because it just looks like there's Ken Norton Jr. It looks like they need a game like this in a hostile environment like this. They need playoff conditions for this kind of young football team to get them ready for a playoff run.
Hard to be more hostile than this. Charkandrick West is now in the backfield, number 30 on 3rd down and 10. Mahomes fires, and that's too high for Tyreek Hill. Shaquille Griffin covering on the play. 4th down. Mahomes is now 1 for 7. Of course, Kansas City got a huge break last night when Baltimore beat the Chargers.
Yeah, and so far Shaquille Griffin showing up here early, and what they're doing is basically leaving some safeties back deep so that those cornerbacks don't have to worry about Tyreek Hill running right past them.
This is a 54-yard attempt. Harrison Butker had a perfect first half of the season, but a little shaky since. From 54, Dustin Colquitt to put it down. And that kick draws through. Nice little draw. So they pick up 3, and it's 7-3 in the first quarter. Shot, Century Link Field in Seattle. Right across the parking lot, Safeco Field, home of the Mariners. There's Tyler Lockett. Runs back kicks. Having a really good year as a receiver. Become Russell Wilson's favorite target. And he went down this one in the end zone, and they begin from the 25. Okay, here's the rest of the schedule next week. This is the 1 o'clock early window. Looking at that schedule right now, the big games are Jets at New England, Jacksonville at Houston, in terms of whether the Patriots or the Texans wind up getting that bye going into the playoffs. If Kansas City wins here, they play the early game against Oakland at Arrowhead. Later on, looking at those games there, Cincinnati at Pittsburgh, Cleveland at Baltimore, very significant. Baltimore leads by a half game in the division. One of those teams will win the North, the other is out. So Baltimore controls that one. If they win, they are in, and Pittsburgh would be out.
Some incredibly close losses by the Steelers coming down the stretch. It's amazing they could be out of the playoffs.
Including today, George Fant is back, and it's a 2-yard gain for Chris Carson up to the 27-yard line.
You know, this Seattle offense is really, I don't want to say they're in any way conservative, but you look at how they played since those opening couple of games and losses with the 12 sacks. They've only got 10 giveaways all season long. So ball control, defensive minded Pete Carroll, it all goes together.
And 10 turnovers in 14 games. Carson again up the middle, up to the 32-yard line. So Seattle with 74 rushing yards tonight, averaging close to 7 yards per carry.
There's what you see every game. After each series, Andy Reid goes over and sits down with his young superstar, Patrick Mahomes, and they kind of go over everything, figure out what's next. Usually they have pretty good answers, but I've got to say so far this first quarter's got to feel pretty good for Seattle because they did not get that explosion that everybody else seems to get.
3rd down and 3. Wilson fires, and that's caught. And that's a first down out to the 41-yard line. Taken in by Jerron Brown. First year in Seattle after a few seasons in Arizona with the Cardinals.
We're going to go Jerron Brown. Very simple coverage, and he's just going to go down and take advantage of it. Really, for the Kansas City Chiefs, what they need to do is get some pass rush situations and down and distance, because their pass rush is better than this offensive line.
And Wilson under pressure, throwing deep downfield, and you've got a flag being thrown as Tyler Lockett and Steven Nelson got tangled up down the sideline, and the flag came in. And it's going to be against Kansas City.
Hey.
Pass interference. Defense number 20. Spot foul. Automatic first down.
You know, sometimes numbers are unbelievable. Wilson to Lockett. Look at this. On the season, 51 out of 63 is tremendous. 800 yards, 9 TDs, no interceptions. The pass rating, I know a lot of people are confused by the pass rating. That is a perfect rating. 158.3. And over the last 40 years, only Drew Brees or Robert Meacham with the Saints back in 2009 had a perfect passer rating. Wilson under pressure and throws that one at the feet of Mike Davis. So it was a 26-yard penalty, and it's 2nd down and 10. And with Baldwin being hurt so much this season, and Jerron Brown came over from Arizona. David Moore was a 7th-round pick last year. Boy, they really needed Lockett to step up, and he has, big time.
David Moore has become a bit of a big play threat himself on the outside. He has the ability to go up and do a little jump ball, make some plays.
Here goes Davis to the 28-yard line. Mike Davis, 4th year out of South Carolina, was with the 49ers previously.
Yeah, I'm not sure that we're not seeing a little bit of a shift in philosophy, not just with the Seattle Seahawks, but around the league, with having multiple running backs with multiple skills. And you could see that Pete Carroll almost likes the competition that takes place. They all have a little different style of what they can do, but when they come in the game, they run like madmen.
Oldest coach in the league at 67. He's got the heart of about a 25-year-old as that pass is caught at the 20-yard line by Doug Baldwin, who had a couple of touchdowns last week in San Francisco, and that's another 1st down.
One of the really hard things for a defensive back to do is change direction off of motion. So you're going to get the motion this way and then the in cut. But it takes a little bit of time for the DB to settle, and you could see he just wasn't quite ready for that kind of a break. Ward tried to get there, but very young guys on the outside that may well be taking a bit of a challenge tonight.
Seattle 4 for 4 on 3rd down. So controlling the tempo, controlling the pace. Big time the possession advantage, obviously, when you do that, as Mike Davis gets to the 15-yard line. Meanwhile, on the Kansas City defense, Chris Jones, number 95, 3rd year out of Mississippi State, has a sack now in 10 consecutive games. Longest single season streak since '82, and '82 is when they began to record sacks. So before that, you don't know. I mean, Deacon Jones thought he had like 600, but who knew?
I'll tell you what, did we have some fun with him last night? Talking about his Captain Crunch milkshakes and his crazy diets, but he has been a superstar. Did get in the Pro Bowl, which is amazing.
2nd and 7. Wilson somehow escapes, but not this time. Gets out of trouble initially. Chris Jones put the pressure on there. Jones with 14 sacks overall this season. 3rd down.
Yeah, Chris Jones understands, and he looks at the program when he is coming into a game, and if he has a lighter player, then he is going to try and just bull rush him all day. If he has somebody who's a little heavier, he's going to try and use his moves. That time the moves led him right past Russell Wilson, but he is going to be living in the backfield all night long. This Seahawks bunch is not going to be able to pass protect these Kansas City Chiefs. They're too good.
3rd down and 10. Play clock down to 2. Wilson surveying, gets out of the pocket. He lives out of the pocket. Flag is thrown, and Wilson throws it away. I thought that was very interesting what Jones said. I never heard a lineman say, I look at the roster, I look at the program to see how much the guy weighs in front of me.
Offense number 74. Penalties declined. Result of the play. 4th down.
George Fant. Of course, some of those weights in the program, Chris, as you know, are fake news.
They're real fake news. You'll see on the outside Fant with a little bit of a sprained ankle going against Justin Houston's going to hook that right arm as Wilson starts to scramble. We see that a lot in the league. Not a bad drive, though.
Sebastian Janikowski from 36 yards. Ooh, close, hits the upright. Janikowski missing a short field goal. And the score remains 7-3 Seahawks.
Mr. Grinch, you really are a hit.
And they really come out of the gate like a sprinter. 15 touchdowns in their first 2 offensive drives this year, 7.7 yards per play. But tonight, no touchdowns, just a field goal. And they're averaging 4.7 yards per play. Crowd roaring. This drive begins at the 26-yard line. under pressure, gets sacked back at the 16-yard line. Dion Jordan, number 95, got to him.
Looked like Eric Fisher on the first shot got pushed right back into his guard, Jeff Allen, coming off the edge here. Eric Fisher going to the Pro Bowl, but just could not keep his feet underneath him. And then once that momentum started, it was over. Dion Jordan was there.
26th sack of the year against Mahomes. 8 yards there. And now on 2nd and 18, trying to spin his way out past the 20-yard line, is Damian Williams. It'll be 3rd down and about 15. Shaquem Griffin in on the tackle, and what a story he is. What an incredible inspiration. Most of you know it. Lost his left hand at the age of 4 because of a before birth defect. His brother, of course, his twin brother, is also on the team. They picked Shaquem in the 5th round this year. Sees a few plays per game. There's his brother who's a starter. But what a story they are. 3rd down and 13. Mahomes pressured again, slides away, fires, caught up at the 42-yard line as Chris Conley makes his first catch of the game. Mahomes so good at extending the play as he does there.
We're going to be talking about this all night long, but these two quarterbacks, they manipulate that pocket as well as anybody. But Patrick Mahomes, when he sees it, when he eyes it and can throw it, amazing off-balance throws.
End of the quarter, 7-3 Seattle, sent it by the coverage by Geico. Al Michaels with Chris Collinsworth and Michelle Tafoya. Seattle on this late December night. First down for Kansas City here in the first play of the 2nd quarter is Williams, Damian Williams, up to the 47-yard line, tackled there by Wagner. And that's a gain of 6. 2nd and 4.
Yeah, it's really interesting, Al. We were talking about it during the break a little bit. Seattle now looks like they have just dedicated themselves to stopping the pass and the big pass plays. And I said, I think Kansas City is going to come back and try and run the football. It's one of the things that when Shaquem Griffin's in there, they're going to try and go right up the middle a little bit more.
Ball start. Offense number 73. 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
Jeff Allen moving. Of course, that's something you see so much in this ballpark because of the noise.
Yeah, even in the huddle sometimes you see the huddles having to get really tight just so they can hear whatever the quarterback is saying. It just stays loud here. I don't know how it is, but you can see how tight that huddle is, and it's just not like that anywhere else.
On 2nd down and 9 through the middle, nice hold develops there for Damian Williams. Takes it to the 50, 3rd and short, and we go to Michelle.
Well, Damian Williams may be getting the bulk of the work. Darrell Williams is questionable with a hamstring. He went back to the locker room, and this is a rushing offense that's already without Spencer Ware, Al.
And we talked about Hunt earlier, Michelle, and also Charkandrick West. We've seen him in a few times. So deep down the chart they go. Here's the 3rd and 1. Williams again to the outside. He goes for a big gain. Tries to stay in bounds, and a flag comes down at the end of the play. Delano Hill involved at the end with Williams. Bill Vinovich will get the answers from his colleagues, and they say, as reported by Bill,
There's no foul for a hit out of bounds. The runner is still inbounds. Result of the play, 1st down.
Okay.
Yeah, a simple play here, just an inside zone run. You're going to see come across, but watch the Seahawks. They never get set here, and that's really what beat them on that play. So a little page out of the Rams playbook, maybe snap out of the huddle and snap it quickly on 3rd and short.
Gain of 21 yards. West is now the back. Hill in motion. Give it to him. Tyreek Hill following blocking, and Hill makes the tackle there. I mean, this guy is such an unbelievable weapon. amazing plays, hurt his leg in the game against Baltimore, but he was in and out of the lineup. Had such a big play at the end of that game. Pro Bowl each of the last 3 seasons. Can run it, can catch it.
You know how he really came here almost more as a running back than a receiver. Wasn't very polished at all. But now you can see the running back toughness, but some of the polish of a receiver.
2nd down and 1. There he goes again. And through the middle on a 2nd and 1, and getting that 1 yard is Charkandrick West in his 5th year out of Abilene Christian, signed a couple of weeks ago. He was a Chief back in 2015 and actually led the team in rushing that year.
I got to tell you, I really appreciate the play calling of Andy Reid. You've got all these weapons, right? And it's really easy to go, okay, we're just going to be showtime all the time. But he is reacting to what he's seeing from Seattle on the defensive side.
Ken Norton, the defensive coordinator, was in Oakland last season. Mahomes on a 1st and 10, throws, caught over the middle, and this is the big tight end Kelsey taking the ball down to the 2-yard line.
Al, just take a look at how deep these linebackers are playing here. I mean, they are a good 5-6 yards off the ball, and then Kelsey is just going to go get into that little gap. So they're going to try and sit back at about, 10, 12 yards to play the pass, and now they're going short runs and little dink passes over the middle into that hole.
Damian Williams back in the backfield. Rolling, throwing. Williams makes the catch for the touchdown. So it took the Chiefs a little longer than normal to get started. But here they go, 74 yards in 10 plays in 5.5 minutes.
It's always tough to try and play the run and as a DB be able to get there. That is a long way to go when the running back knows exactly what he's doing and you've got traffic to try and get through. That one's a little tough.
Chiefs take the lead for the first time tonight with 11:21 left in the half.
Sometimes you hear criticism of Andy Reid, but that was brilliant play calling all the way down the field.
He's morphing into a modern-day Don Coryell after 20 years. Extra point by Butker is good. Kansas City takes the lead in Seattle, 10-7. Coming up at the half, there is Mount Rainier. Peak is obscured on that time-lapse shot. And back we come just south of downtown Seattle, where that ball will be downed in the end zone by Tyler Lockett. So these two quarterbacks tonight, right out of the touchdown factory. TD rate, 1 every 11.5 for Mahomes, 1 every 12.2 for Wilson. 45 touchdown passes for Mahomes, 31 for Russell. So in this game tonight, two quarterbacks, 76 combined TD passes, most entering a game in the history of the National Football League. And that's Bobby Wagner rallying his troops after that long Kansas City drive.
Yeah, it really frustrates defensive players when they get run upon. That seems to be the thing that hurts their ego the most. Even though you say, all right, they gained 5 yards and average pass is 7 yards, it still wounds them more when they get runs against them.
Yeah, Kansas City ran for 50 of those 79 yards on that drive. That's exactly what he was talking about. Carson stopped there by Reggie Ragland. No gain, 2nd and 10.
Yeah, Al, I think coming into this game, the thing that surprised me the most was I knew that they had sort of become a running team here in Seattle, and Andy Reid knew it as well. But I didn't realize the kind of big plays that Russell Wilson had generated in this offense off of that running game. To me, that was the untold story of what's been going on here. Almost as many touchdown passes this year as last year when he led the league.
2nd and 10. Under the tutelage of Brian Schottenheimer. David Moore, the intended receiver, and that's Ward breaking it up. 3rd down.
Travarius Ward out there being asked to do a lot with Kendall Fuller out of the mix. And remember, Orlando Scandrick in the nickel a lot of times would end up going outside. So he's going to have to play some man-to-man coverage on the outside. And so far, he has certainly been up to the task. Now you'll see Russell Wilson here, I think, sort of give you his Muhammad Ali impersonation, dance around in the pocket, really put some pressure on the pass rushers.
So Kendall Fuller, the cornerback, inactive tonight. Mike Davis is in the backfield. Wilson stepping away. Here he goes, and he will run for not a first down because he went down a little early. Had to get to the 35, and they spot him where he goes down at the 34-yard line. So now you got a 4th down and inches coming up.
Yeah, as you go down, Terry, I'm going to let you handle this one, partner.
All right, Chris, we heard at the beginning of the season, if he goes head first, they're going to put the ball down where another body part other than hand or foot touches, and that's what happened here, short of the line to gain.
So he does not get the slide here despite not being touched.
He does not. They've ruled him giving himself
on the
up.
field, the quarterback gave himself up. The ball is dead once he hits the ground. 4th down. I will.
So Pete Carroll talked with Vinovich. There's nothing to challenge here. I'm sure he explained it exactly as Terry just stated. So it's 4th down, and you know, it's in this situation with that offense on the other side, you punt it.
Yeah, I think Russell knew he was close. Is usually a baseball slider coming in, went the other way and seemed to stumble because he really should have been able to pick up that first down.
More official discussion here. So the crowd doesn't like it,
Play
but
clock at 25 seconds.
they're just resetting the play
We're gonna
clock.
wind both.
Meanwhile, Michael Dixon comes in. He's a rookie from Australia, played at Texas, and leads the league both in gross and net punting. What a season he has had. And you would think he's going to try to keep it away from Tyreek Hill. Let's see. It's a line drive kick, and he does keep it away from Hill. Then it goes out of bounds near the 20-yard line. Check this form out. NFL records. Remember, he's played 15 games, 14 this season, plus 1 at the end of last year. Most pass yards through 15 games. Most TD passes. Passer rating will have to wait. We'll have to compute that after the game tonight. Those guys, Brady, Breeze, Rodgers, Manning, Peyton Manning, 300 more passing yards, 3 TD passes after they were well into their careers. Mahomes has done it at the start.
Pretty amazing young man, and he's kept some humility about him, and he enjoys the game, and they all love him on this Kansas City Chiefs team and coaching staff.
So from the 20-yard line, they begin this drive. The fake, and then it's Tyreek Hill making the catch. That's a gain of 14. All right, so the MVP race had 4 or 5 guys in it a couple of weeks ago.
All the Rams guys went away.
All the Rams guys went away. But you've got Mahomes and you've got Breeze. And I'll tell you what, Russell Wilson he's not going to win it, but he'll be maybe in the top 6 or 7 for sure.
Absolutely. If I had to say right now, I would say Mahomes by a bit. But I do want to watch that tape from today. That was a huge win with Drew Brees leading the way down there.
Who threw for 326 yards against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And he got a flag down before the snap here.
False start. Offense number 73. 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
Jeff Allen, his 2nd. You know, Chris, the other thing is, you know, Mahomes, 23 years old. He could be the youngest MVP. The thing about Breeze, though, that I think is you look at the youngest MVPs in the history of the league and take a look at this group. Brown did it twice before that age. Marino did it. And Walter Payton did it. 3 of the all-time greatest. I think some voters may say, you know, Breeze is always there. He's never won it. And maybe they'll give him a little bit of the edge in that regard. As Damian Williams is going to get spun around and loses the ball. And the Seahawks are going to be able to pick it up on the turnover. Jaron Reed comes away with the ball, rides the horse. So Damian Williams with the fumble. Turnover deep in KC territory.
Deion Jordan's the cowboy on this one, riding the horse, and this is another big play for him in this game. And now you and I talked about this a little bit. How much ultimately, when we're talking about one of the Super Bowl favorites in Kansas City, would the loss of Kareem Hunt mean to this football team? And it's hard to say, and you go, okay, they're all right as long as they go to their second string or their third string. You start getting down to your fourth string, there's some great unknowns out there.
For sure. From the 21, Carson cuts it back, picks up about 9. Tough running down to the 12-yard line, comes up hopping.
Really nice job on the backside of this thing. Ethan Posick is going to come in and get this linebacker on the ground. George Fant, a nice job with that block as well. If you see people on the ground on the backside of those zone runs, more often than not, they pop.
100 yards rushing tonight for the Seahawks. Bring the fullback in, Trey Matt. He leads the way for Carson through the middle. Down to the 5-yard line. First down and goal. Tell you, Brian Schottenheimer loves to use fullbacks, as did Dad. There's Williams on the bench.
It's just straight ahead power football, and this is what Pete Carroll loves. This is what they had back in the days with Marshawn Lynch when they were competing for world championships all the time. Because as a defense now, you're forced into some coverage looks that is going to leave you one-on-one and vulnerable on the outside. But right now down here, Eric Berry really is the key guy. We saw him make some great plays on the goal line a week ago. He is their key guy, number 29.
He was on a pitch count last week, played 30 snaps in the first half. Carson to the outside, and he will get taken down at the 8-yard line by D. Ford. Sealing the edge there. It'll be second down and goal.
Well, D. Ford's a smart guy because he felt that wide receiver coming back in the crackback situation. Look at him. He's looking outside. He knows exactly what's coming for him on the outside from Ed Dixon, and he played it perfectly. D. Ford, what a year he's had. He's like doubled the number of pressures he's ever had in any year of his career.
11.5 sacks for him this season. Second and goal. Keep it on the ground. Carson takes it to the 4-yard line. It'll be third down and goal. Bailey makes the stop and slow and getting up.
Justin Britt is waving towards the sideline for somebody to come out here quickly for J.R. Sweezy.
Yeah, Sweezy
Not
is the
good.
man who's hurt. So the good news, J.R. Sweezy looked like it might be serious, but he gets up and is able to limp off. DJ Fluker's going to come in. He's missed the last 2 games with the hamstring. There he was coming in.
More than
Posick,
any.
yeah, Posick, who started the first 2 games, is going to move over to left guard.
More than any other position group, that offensive line is really a brotherhood. And when one of them goes down, you could see the camaraderie there.
Third down and goal. Davis is the back. Seattle down by 3. Wilson rolling and looking and firing, and it's tipped and it's incomplete, but there's a flag.
But that ball's tipped, though.
Yeah, Justin Houston was able to deflect it, and then the flag came in the end zone.
I think they'll pick up the flag, don't you, Terry?
Yeah, if the contact occurs after the tip, it's definitely not a foul. If it occurs before the tip, then it would still be a foul.
That is the question. Vinovich will answer it in a second here. So it's first and goal or fourth and goal?
Pass interference. Defense number 35. The foul's in the end zone. Ball is placed at the 1-yard line. Automatic first down.
Trevarius Ward makes it first and goal at the 1.
Boy, this is close to whether or not it's tipped before the interference. It depends on where they called the interference. Did they call it there or there? Because if they called it on the last one, I thought the ball was tipped before that. Ball's tipped now, whatever that foul, but it looked like the flag was coming out much earlier than that, Terry, didn't it?
It does, and it doesn't look like the ball's in flight. It looks like it probably should have been defensive holding, because as he's trying to make his cut, if the ball's not in flight, then you've got defensive holding.
Yep.
So it is a foul no matter what,
Andy,
I would say.
Andy's going to try to challenge it.
The ruling on the field is that the ball was tipped prior to the pass interference. Timeout.
Well, you really have to stitch a lot of shots together on this, and they will.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine premieres January 10th on NBC.
This is one of the more interesting challenges we can remember because it deals with the timing of when the flag was thrown. The ball is clearly tipped. There is the field judge, Merle Robinson, back of the end zone in the corner, and he's going to reach for his flag before the ball was tipped. And then Andy Reid wanted a challenge. Here's Vinovich.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands. The contact was prior to the tip.
You know, Terry, we've seen it challenge whether it was tipped or not, but never when it was tipped.
Right. This is the first time I've seen that. And really, that is not a reviewable play when it's touched.
And so, it's also not pass interference.
It's not.
That could have been defensive holding, but it couldn't have been pass interference at that point.
Correct. And what's happened here is Coach Reid has lost a challenge now where I think they should have told him it wasn't reviewable.
Mm-hmm.
And it shouldn't have been on the 1 yard line.
Correct.
Should have been halfway to the goal.
Yes.
All right, so now it's 1st and goal from the 1 after all that. Carson is the back, and he cannot take it into the end zone. He gets tripped up at the line of scrimmage, 6 minutes to the half. Xavier Williams makes the tackle, 2nd down and goal.
Well, that was some play by Xavier Williams, being able to go from the opposite side and just basically take out the legs of Carson on that one. That was really something special. Doug Baldwin in the slot. Whenever he's there, you better be ready to play a corner route because he is the master of that one.
2nd and goal. Instead, they go the other way for the touchdown to Nick Bannett. Tight end releases. It all comes about after the Williams fumble, and Seattle has the lead again.
I love watching these two quarterbacks play football. Sometimes I feel like they're playing baseball instead of football. Here he comes, right down the line. Sorensen's right in his face. He doesn't even care what kind of pass he throws out there. Just kind of pushes a little push shot maybe you would do in basketball. Beautifully done by Russell Wilson.
Like they're playing baseball, they were both drafted to play Major League Baseball. Janikowski for the extra point. Bangs that through with 5.5 to go in the first half. In Seattle, 14-10 Hawks. We're back in 30 seconds. Oh, yeah. From the 25-yard line. Mahomes is 5 of 11 for 59 yards. Keep it on the ground, and that's a 5-yard gain for Damian Williams.
Well, you can talk about a lot of different guys on Seattle, but this guy is the man on defense right now. 86 solo tackles this season without a missed tackle. That is remarkable in and of itself. But you get to coverage, guess who's #1 in all those coverage categories as well? Bobby Wagner, Pro Bowl after Pro Bowl, 5 in a row, but well on his way to a Hall of Fame career.
Drafted in the same draft just before Russell Wilson. Bobby a 2nd rounder, Russell a 3rd. Little spinorama there. And Williams keeps those legs moving to set up a 3rd down and 1 at the 34-yard line.
Yeah, you just see that Bobby Wagner, time after time, understands what they're doing. Here they do a little spin around, fancy kind of run play, and he goes right to it. Now, yes, was there a blocker up on him? Yeah, they got up there on him, but you could see how quickly he diagnosed that.
They bring a fullback in, Anthony Sherman. But don't put him in a conventional spot. There he is in the slot to the left. And it's a keeper for Mahomes. And a timeout was taken by Seattle before the snap.
Prior to the snap. First charge timeout. Seattle.
There is Cam Chancellor. The Legion of Boom is gone. Cam hurt last year, 4-time Pro Bowl selection. He's on the injured reserve PUP list, physically unable to perform, but he's probably done. Richard Sherman is in San Francisco. You had Earl Thomas in that big contract dispute, but he was playing at the beginning of the year, and then he got hurt. Then he's out for the year. So the one-time Legion of Boom in a big transformation. You know, Seattle's made so much of a transformation. They don't call it a rebuild. I mean, it's a reboot, it's a retool, it's a reconstruct, it's a metamorphosis. You pick your euphemism. What is it?
It's Pete Carroll, and believe me, this defense is going to get rebuilt the right way. You never heard of those guys until he got hold of them either.
Sherman's the fullback. Williams, and he's going to get taken down before he can get the line to gain. Frank Clark right there. So on a 3rd and 1, and they had called a timeout before the Mahomes sneak, which would have resulted in a first down, and now it's 4th down.
Frank Clark just too quick on the outside. Watch the little move inside. Throw Eric Fisher off stride a bit again. He stumbles, and Clark with his quickness able to get there. Mahomes going to try and give him a push over the line.
Back in 2005, the Chiefs drafted Dustin Colquitt. That's a pretty good career. Been their punter for 14 years. That with his Pittsburgh during the glory years and his 2 Super Bowl rings. And this punt will bounce at the 11-yard line and go into the end zone.
I don't know about that.
Or did it.
He jumped in the field of play, so it's like an out-of-bounds play in basketball. Yep. You can flip it back.
Marcus Kemp with a great play to flip it back. Check this one out. Wow, bounces. Look at this.
Really got to build. Ball's first touch to the 9-yard line. Seattle ball, first down.
Great play.
Really is, and a huge play in the ball game, because now it gives you the chance to play a little defense, maybe get the ball back with some great field position.
57-yard punt. Marcus Kemp. Terrific.
You can stay around the team a long time if you make special teams plays like that. He only has 22 snaps on offense so far this year, but they'll remember that one.
Yep. Special teamer, played his college football at University of Hawaii. And that is Chris Carson, who gets taken down by the ankle by Derek Nutty. It'll be 2nd down and 9.
You know, all my usual instincts about watching Seattle and them calling plays, and of course we've done Super Bowls with them, and I keep looking at it and going, oh, Doug Baldwin's one-on-one, they're going to go to him. And then you go, no, they're not. That's not who they are, because they're going to come out and run it, and then they're going to run it again, and then they're going to go a little play action, and that's how they built this comeback season of theirs that looked like it wasn't going to go very well early on.
Yeah, big transformation on the 2nd down and 9. Carson fighting his way for a first down to the 21-yard line as we tick down toward the 2-minute warning. Seahawks started to come up to the line and try to run the play quickly, but they'll take the break at the 2-minute mark. Bob Sutton, the defensive coordinator. 2-minute warning with Seattle up 14-10 on Sunday Night Football. Nick Foles, man, oh man, oh man.
He got run over by a reindeer in that final drive and came back and made the key play again.
Unbelievable. First down from the 21-yard line. Mike Davis is the back. Wilson fires. 39-yard line. That's Tyler Lockett. We talked about him earlier. What a great year he's had. That's his first catch of the night.
You know, and Al, that's exactly how they run this offense here. Is they just, here we're going to go to the no huddle, but you run, you get them in single coverage and man-to-man, and then you let these receivers go to work.
Wilson fires again down the right side. That's incomplete. Everybody wants a flag, and there it comes. Comes in late. Tyler Lockett again. Travarius Ward with the interference, and that will move the ball into Chiefs territory.
I was just wondering how long it was going to take to take.
Pass interference. Defense number 35. Spot foul. Automatic first down.
And begin to really take some shots against these cornerbacks on the outside. I mean, Ward's a nice young player, but you've got to find out. But they are not going to get away from who they are, which is a run-first football team, and it just works for them.
There's Kendall Fuller. Boy, they miss him tonight. he would be in that spot. Seattle has run already in the half for 120 yards, passed for only 52. And Wilson almost got swallowed up, and that was tipped. His arm was jarred as he got it away by Justin Houston.
Well, the one thing that I thought we might see a little more out of the Chiefs is a little more five-man pressure. Because when you start doing that, you fill up the gaps, and Russell Wilson can't escape and do what we saw early on. So now they're going to come with a little bit more pressure. And yeah, they had a guy wide open sitting down the field, but Russell Wilson also got his arm hit because Justin Houston had enough room to operate.
So Wilson 5 of 10 for 55 yards. A minute and a half to go in the half. A deep drop by Russ. And somehow he avoids a sack here and is able to run for a nice gain down to the 37-yard line. D. Ford makes the tackle there. He looks over to the bench. You want to call for a timeout, he says. On a 3rd down and 3, but they
don't want that timeout because they want that clock to go. They have plenty of timeouts. Watch Russell Wilson. Now it's a 4-man rush, and you can see the gaps are bigger. There's just more opportunity for him to do his little dancing thing. Don't forget, he's been training as a boxer in the offseason, so we're getting a little of the Ali shuffle going.
Yeah, Wilson's been training as a boxer as well.
Second charge timeout.
And now they take a timeout. Well, they let the clock run down a little. That's what they were doing. They wanted to take the timeout, but let more time run off the clock. He says plenty of time left. Speaking of Wilson boxing, so who do you think would win a Wilson-Ford battle here? Got a little weight difference, don't we?
I'd say a big weight difference. But he looks quick, right? He kind of looks like a boxer moving his feet. But inside the pocket, that's kind of what it looks like, right?
He's training there with a fabled trainer, Freddie Roach. Russ spends a good part of his offseason in Southern California. There he was.
So when I asked him about the whole thing, and he was talking about boxing, and I said, so you get hit? And he goes, oh, no, let's not go crazy. Right? I get enough of that.
Yeah. He's been sacked enough in his career.
And this is really a kind of a pivotal moment right here because 3rd down and about 3, just on the brink of field goal range.
Play on 3rd and 3.
And coverage. He wants to throw it.
And stepping away, dumps it off, and it's going to be caught, but it's going to be short of the first down. Ed Dixon, tight end. And they're going to spot that ball as the Chiefs now take a timeout. It's going to be 4th and 5. And Andy wants to save some time.
Watch all this. We're getting 6-man pressure now because they are trying to do something. Actually, it's 5-man pressure. They're trying to do something a little different. This is not something that you see much out of the Kansas City Chiefs. They blitz about 5th least, I think, in the National Football League. So we saw Andy Reid's patient on offense, running the football, and now a little more aggressive on defense, trying to come after Russell Wilson.
43 seconds. You're going to send in the punting group. If you attempted a field goal, it would be about 58 yards. But the downside, of course, if you made it, great. If you don't make it, you give Mahomes the ball at his own 48-yard line.
I'm looking forward to watching Dixon do this again. It was almost a drop kick his last punt. I want to see what he does here because it looks like he's kicking it to the right and then it shoots out to the left.
Rookie going to the Pro Bowl, grew up in Australia. Nose down, puts backspin on it. Hill is there, and that bounces at the 10-yard line.
We'll let it bounce. And let that clock to tick.
Right, Seattle down to the 11-yard line, and we'll be back in 30 seconds after this from AWS.
We didn't dream up a new way to find the best ramen. We never thought, you know what Mars needs? A dune buggy. We didn't decide you should be able to share your home with travelers from around the world. We're not the ones who imagined one day we'd all be streaming movies, or whatever she's about to do. But when asked if these ideas were possible, we're the only cloud with the capabilities, experience, and know-how to make them happen. AWS is how.
So Kansas City will have the ball. Can they get into field goal range is the question. 33 seconds. They have one timeout. The ball to the 13. Of course, with Mahomes and Hill, anything is possible, but they keep it on the ground. Damian Williams will spin his way out to the 30-yard line. And now a first down, and the clock will be stopped for the final timeout. Again, what's at stake for both teams tonight? The Chiefs clinched the AFC West #1 seed in the AFC, which means the road to the Super Bowl would go through Kansas City. The Seahawks would clinch a playoff berth with a win. Even if they lose, they would clinch a berth next week. They play Arizona.
You know, I think that Pete Carroll is seeing this game, and we talked about the pace at the beginning of the show, that this pace is exactly what Pete Carroll was hoping for. Yeah, they didn't score in that last drive, but they took it from their own 10-yard line, drove it all the way down the field, ate up the clock, kept it away from Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, they're hitting a couple little runs on him, but I would say so far, which coach is happier? It's got to be Pete Carroll.
Mahomes slides around, passes incomplete. Got jostled. Intended for Kelsey. Second down.
You know, this really has not been the kind of pass rush team that we've been used to seeing in Seattle. And you could see, I couldn't tell if his arm got hit. This young man does, oh yeah, he got hit right in the face. That's what he thought. He thought he should have gotten a 15 out of that.
Second and 10.
Here come the communication problems again. The crowd going crazy, and Mahomes is going, how come nobody can hear me?
Yeah, good luck. But DeMarcus Robinson was set to one side. Kelsey says, get over here. Play clock at 1. Mahomes dancing and firing over the middle, and that is caught by a wide open Conley, and the ball is punched away from him. And then Hill is there, but Seattle will recover. Justin Coleman punched it out. And with 10 seconds left, the Seahawks get the ball back.
I think one of the untold heroes on this football team is number 28, Justin Coleman. He's done a fantastic job in the slot this year. The Seahawks have had real problems covering wide receivers on the outside, but watch Hill go get this ball because Tyreek Hill was coming from the other way. And it was just one of those cases. Delano Hill there just in time. Tremendous first half here for Seattle.
Second turnover by KC. This one doesn't figure to be costly, only 10 seconds. Probably go into a victory formation here to end the first half. The other one was very costly. And Wilson will just take a knee, and the Seahawks will go to the locker room, and it's a pretty good half of football on Sunday night. Seahawks get the ball coming out for the second half. Our halftime score is Seattle 14, Kansas City 10. Coming up next, Toyota Halftime with Mike Tirico. In here,
accounts of the game without the consent of NFL Productions is prohibited. Week 16 concludes with Monday Night Football on ESPN. Then Week 17 kicks off next Sunday on CBS and Fox. Stream games on mobile with the NFL and Yahoo Sports apps.
Tonight's first half highlights are brought to you by Chevrolet.
Just keeps on going. Touchdown. Rolling, throwing. Williams makes the catch for the touchdown. They go the other way for the touchdown to Nick Van Ness.
Beautifully done by Russell Wilson.
Chevy has earned J.D. Power Dependability Awards for cars, trucks, and SUVs.
Cloudy skies, 47 degrees in Seattle on this Sunday night. Al Michaels with Chris Collinsworth. The show for you. Good first half. Seahawks on top by a score of 14-10. Mahomes 6 of 13, only 82 yards. That one TD pass. For me, the quarterback has been able to light it up tonight. Wilson 6 of 11, 54 with the TD and 34 ground yards for him. Unless the receivers held in check. Hill with one catch, 15 yards. Kelsey for 1 for 17 yards.
Both teams under 100 yards passing and over 100 yards rushing. And, you know, we're just getting a little bit of that L.A. Rams defensive treatment. You know, the Rams offense was so good, so they just sitting back, 2 deep safeties. help underneath for the cornerbacks. Don't get beat deep. Run the football. We don't care.
Seattle trying to clinch a wild card spot. They will get the ball and they will start from the 25. And Michelle, what have you learned?
Well, I spoke with Pete Carroll. You know, the offensive line was the big story coming in, and he said they're holding up pretty well. He wants Russell to get rid of the ball quicker because pass protection hasn't held up as well as he'd like. J.R. Sweezy, they're going to give him a go. He was questionable with a left ankle injury. He's heavily spatted. He's out there. They'll see if he can play. As for slowing down Mahomes, he said, we're just honoring what they do well, and he acknowledged the Chiefs are running pretty well. He said, for now, that's okay.
For sure. He has the lead by 4. Andy Reid going over his chart as his defense is out on the field right now from the 25-yard line. The Seahawks begin this drive with Carson around the left side, and Chris Carson fighting his way for 15 yards. He's not Marshawn Lynch, but I tell you what, he's taking a page out of his book.
And the way he presses the hole is impressive. So he comes in and it holds this defensive end, and then he's getting out and around. There's really not a hook block on the outside, so there should be no problem containing that. But so far, at least for D Ford on that one, it's just a big mistake.
Carson for a gain of 15. Bring the fullback in the game. This is Carson stepping over a couple of bodies and picking up 4. Out to the 44-yard line.
You know, it's an interesting dilemma a little bit for Kansas City on the defensive side. Eric Berry is their speedster on the back end, so they want to leave him back and let Sorensen play around the line of scrimmage there for Bob Sutton. And yet, the one thing that I will say about watching Eric Berry come back last week, it was like watching Troy Polamalu. You know, the X factor that you couldn't account for where he was, and he would see things in jump routes and jump plays. And I think around the line of scrimmage, he can do a little more in this game.
Added juice. 2nd down and 6 from the 44. Whistle, no. It's Wilson. Somebody blew a whistle in the stands and thrown away. It's 3rd down and 6.
Those are the kinds of play actions that have worked big. But so far now, we have not seen one single deep shot by really either of these teams where you go play action and you throw it deep. And Doug Baldwin and David Moore and Tyler Lockett have made some of those kinds of plays down the field, but now you're going to get that more cautious 2 deep safety looks. It'll be harder to do on 3rd down.
3rd and 6. Chiefs don't blitz very often. Will they come here? They do. Send an extra man, and the catch is made by Nick Vanette, who scored the touchdown in the first half, and he has a first down to the 47 of Kansas City.
Well, they're playing a zone defense, which is fine, but you've got your cornerback playing so far off the ball, and yeah, they're going to bring 5. Al, you called it, the blitz is coming here, but they're playing that zone behind it and well off, so it was really just an easy pitch and catch, and really both these quarterbacks tonight have been much more effective getting the ball out of their hands quickly.
Fake to Davis. Fired over the middle. Caught at the 30-yard line by Doug Baldwin. And another first down for Doug Baldwin tonight. 3 catches for 44 yards.
There you go. That's a nice call right there by Brian Schottenheimer. They're going first down play action. So watch everybody react up. They're all going to play the run. So those zones in behind are just vacant because everybody has to come pay attention. You convince them that you're going to run the football, and then you start throwing on first down.
Well, Baldwin exploiting it. 3 catches for him. Only 1 for Lockett tonight. This is Mike Davis, the number 2 back to the 24-yard line. Daniel Sorensen making the tackle.
And coming into the game, you would have said, what's the big advantage that Kansas City has on defense? Because they give up so many yards against them running the football. But you would have said Justin Houston and Chris Jones and Alan Bailey and D Ford, those pass rushers would have a huge advantage. But when they are playing the run, they're not able to take advantage.
And the fake to Davis. Little change up to Lockett. Flag is thrown though. Flag back at the 30-yard line. So for the moment, Lockett takes the ball. Will be a 1st and goal. But
offense number 74. 10-yard penalty. Repeat, second down.
Call that one on George Fant.
George Fant right there is going to, everything's going down this way. Let's take a look. They love calling that little grab of the shoulder pad. Terry?
You know, there's a little grab. He's well away from the quarterback. I don't see a lot of material effect on the play, Chris.
I love it when you start with, you know. You don't even have to say anything after that. You know.
It's basically, right. I don't like that, right?
That's the key. 2nd and 17. Wilson fires near side. That's Lockett, so he makes the catch here, and that one counts. Gets into the 24-yard line, tackled there by Justin Houston. So he got 10 there, and it's 3rd down and 6.
Don't you love what Tyler Lockett's done this season? 9 touchdowns after he had just 9 in his first 3 years, and he really became that big play guy. But down around here is really where Russell Wilson loves Doug Baldwin. Baldwin just has this innate toughness to him that allows him to go up and make plays. We saw it in that game a week ago. When he gets in that slot, he is really dangerous.
On a 3rd and 6, look out. Sacked at the 29-yard line. You got Chris Jones and D. Ford. So Jones had a 10-game streak. Do they give him at least a partial sack here? We'll get the scoring in a second.
I've got to say, I've been waiting on this all night because I thought they had the advantage inside. There you'll see Chris Jones, and he is just electric for a man that big. He lost about 30 pounds, but then it was his teammate D. Ford who's having his best year coming up and under. So finally one of those stunts working for the Chiefs.
A half a sack for each and a 47-yard attempt by Sebastian Janikowski with a flag on the play at the 37-yard line. The kick is no good, and Janikowski gets hit, and he is writhing in pain on the ground here.
Yeah, they got the plant leg, I think, of Janikowski.
Personal foul. Roughing the kicker. Defense number 25. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down. Correction, 24.
And I'm not so sure he wasn't offsides as well. Terry, take it, right? It's the plant leg when that one gets struck.
Yeah, he followed through. Initially he got the kicking leg, but he follows through. Forcible contact to the plant leg. This is absolutely roughing the kicker.
Jordan Lucas is the guy who commits the penalty. So the question now with Janikowski is, will he be able to kick down the line?
We might see a drop kick by Michael Dixon. That was pretty amazing watching him in pregame warm-up.
Yeah, the Aussie Pete Carroll happy about that call, except he's got to worry about his kicker. And now you got a first down.
And he's going over to practice drop kicking.
For sure. From the 14-yard line, Wilson now has the ball to Chris Carson. 2nd and 6. Talking about drop kicking. So here he is. He's their punter going to the Pro Bowl. And there he was from 55 yards. Taking us back to the 1940s.
He barely kicked that thing.
Yeah.
I've never seen the holder as an optional component of a field goal.
Well, we've seen drop kicks before, but it was Doug Flutie with an extra point years ago. 2005. 2nd down and 6 now from the 10-yard line. And Wilson flushed out, keeps his eyes downfield, throws too high and incomplete. Doug Baldwin was the intended receiver. Steven Nelson covering. It's 3rd and 6 for Seattle.
One thing Doug Baldwin does very well are the scramble drills. So you'll see him inside, get to that back line, and now they try to go to work back there. Try and make him look somewhere else, but Steven Nelson is a guy who gets picked on all the time because he's asked to play the most man coverage on this Kansas City Chiefs team. You look at his numbers, they're pretty darn good. He's done a nice job this year.
This is the 11th play of this drive. And it's thrown And it is caught at the sideline, but out of bounds. David Moore leaping for it. And it's Ward covering on the play. And now you've got the field goal coming up. Is Janikowski ready to come back out?
You can see some of the hops there by Moore, and it is Janikowski coming back.
Limping out there.
You wonder if he could maybe handle a short field goal and not feel so good about a longer one. But again, it looked like the plant leg that he got rolled up on, and you wonder how ginger that's going to be as he plants it.
Dixon will hold it. It's a 28-yard attempt, and no problem. So the opening drive of the second half, 12 plays, 65 yards, tack on 3, and it's 17-10 Seahawks.
Just see those things.
That's it. So instead of Janikowski kicking off, Michael Dixon, their punter and drop kicker extraordinaire, is going to kick off. They're working on Janikowski, who was able to kick that field goal but came limping to the bench. And now you're going to see, here it is, a drop kick kickoff that goes all the way down to the 4-yard line. Tremont Smith.
Oh, they're going to love that.
Beautiful coverage. Tremendous.
They're going to go crazy.
Yep.
Because you know Kansas City thought they had a chance with that guy drop kicking.
You can't punt it on a kickoff. You have to drop kick it. Going back about 70 years to when they used to do this all the time. How great is that?
I'll tell you what, if I'm a scout, I'm going to Australia. I want to find me another one of those.
Tonight. From the 17-yard line. Send Williams out into the slot as they go 5 wide here. And Mahomes fires, and that is caught up at the 40-yard line by Travis Kelce. They bracketed him. Signals a first down. Indeed it is, for 23 yards.
He has the nerve of a burglar here. Unbelievable. Coming up, watch Wagner in perfect position all the way down, and somehow he threw it anyway and fitted it. That's amazing.
Yep.
He's been doing that all year. I'm going to quit saying it's amazing. I've been seeing him do it all year.
Couple of years. The 40-yard line. Hill in motion. Mahomes comes back the other way. Williams. Damian Williams gets across the 50. And he'll be stopped at the 49-yard line with 8.5 to go in the third quarter.
Now, I love watching this offense. I really do, because they have the ultimate decoy in Tyreek Hill. So the minute that he comes across in this jet sweep thing, all eyeballs go with him. And yet here we go, a very simple little screen concept going the other way, and it's there and wide open.
Always has to be accounted for. Held him to 1 catch tonight. He's run the ball twice for 17 yards. Mahomes hangs in the pocket, fires, and that one is caught. And that's Hill for a gain of 11. In the first half, here's what the Chiefs were held to.
Yeah, I mean, quite a bit of man coverage, maybe more than I was expecting coming in. Akeem King there. There's Bobby Wagner on coverage on Kelce. And then they've got all kinds of folks around Tyreek Hill. But you can tell now the Chiefs are wanting to get a little away from the run game and get back to showtime.
And here they drop it off on a screen to Williams, and he goes nowhere. Taken down by Shaquille Griffin. 2nd and 10.
Anytime you watch this offense, you'll see the offensive line moving in mass one direction. That time they move towards the screen direction. Sometimes they go that way and they screen the other way. Andy Reid, I'm going to guess, has about 57 screen passes on that sheet of his.
Eric Bieniemy is the offensive coordinator. Of course, last year's offensive coordinator, Matt Nagy, now the head coach of the Chicago Bears. 2nd down and 10 from the 37-yard line. Mahomes directing traffic, will keep it and gets pushed out. Frank Clark. That's going to set up a 3rd down and 3 after a gain of 7.
They're staying with 2 deep safeties in the middle of the field, so they're really not playing any sort of man coverage on the outside here, more of a quarters kind of a look, where they all have a 4 deep across the field. So if you're going to beat them, generally you're going to have to beat them underneath.
Third and 3. Before the typical roaring crowd, blitz coming, dumped over the middle, and somehow, some way holding on is Kelsey. Barely able to hold on. Akeem King makes the tackle, but that moves the sticks.
Nice job there by young Patrick Mahomes. He saw the blitz look. He knew he was going to have man coverage. He had his 2 best on one side of the field, chose Kelsey, and just delivered the ball. I thought they'd either go slant or pick. They come up with just a simple slant. They can beat the man coverage when they see it if he's willing to audible. It's like man again.
Mahomes, that shoulder shake, buys time, fires on the run. West for the touchdown. Charkandrick West got free. Mahomes with that little shake of the shoulders, buying time, steps up, hits West.
Stop it. This doesn't happen in the NFL. Al, you got to see this one. All right, here we go. There's West in the backfield, but don't take your eyes off Mahomes. Watch the arm angle, almost underhand here. Back across his body. I don't know what sort of flexibility drills he does or was born with or whatever the case. That's unbelievable.
He's a contortionist. It's also his 30th touchdown pass on the road, and that's a new NFL record. Breaking the mark held by Tom Brady. Butker for the extra point, and we have a tie ball game. 5:18 left in the 3rd. The magician. There he is. Touchdown to make it 17-17. Let's ride the Ferris wheel.
Yes, she did.
Happy birthday, Holly.
Yes. Happy birthday, darling.
5:18 remaining in the 3rd. And the Hawks will have it at the 25. And we can tell you that Sunday Night Football is being brought to you by State Farm. Here to help life go right. And by Hyundai, official sponsor of the NFL. And on Tuesday, Eric Berry visited with patients at Children's Mercy Hospital in Kansas City. Of course, he's a Hodgkin's lymphoma survivor, donated toys and $20,000 to the hospital. What a great story. Hodgkin's lymphoma, came back, comeback player of the year the next year. Then he tears his Achilles on opening night last year, New England. Then he has a heel problem, the other heel, that kept him out of action until a week ago Thursday against the Chargers.
Yeah, he knows what it's like to spend Christmas in the hospital getting treatment, and God bless him for all he does.
Drive begins at the 25. Good night for Carson. Your Carson is now over 1,000 yards for the season as we go back to the KCTD.
And Mahomes is over 1,000 passes like this year. Every once in a while, whether the kids call it is lit or dope or whatever it is, but it's all those things, as he makes another play that just kind of takes your breath away. And then look at him looking at his hand like, how do you do that right hand? How do you do that again? It's amazing. Look at that hand.
And threw a perfect spiral as well. Carson again. Up to the 41-yard line. Boy, you look at this Carson. They went out, they drafted Rashad Penny out of San Diego State in the 1st round. You wonder if he's ever going to get the job. I mean, the way this guy's going, who was picked in the 7th round last year.
And I tell you, I have to give a tip of the cap to Mike Solari, their offensive line coach as well. I mean, he has just made it work with an incredible mixture of talent up front. They just keep shifting guys.
Meanwhile, D4, otherwise known as Mrs. Russell Wilson.
To football fans.
To football, right.
Period.
Correct. So with 4.5 to go in the 3rd, D Ford, he's back on the bench. Had that injury timeout. Has to stay out, of course, for at least one play. Once you're down, and Breland Speaks comes in, the rookie out of Mississippi, second-round draft choice for the moment. Play action. A lot of time. Fires. Caught at the Kansas City 41-yard line for a gain of 19 yards. Baldwin holds it in. Nelson with good coverage, but the ball right on the money.
This is one of the Chiefs' plays, this deep over that they do to Tyreek Hill, but watch this throw. I mean, it had to be perfect. Nelson was right on it, but Baldwin just never drops a pass. I've never seen a guy. He's had 2 streaks of like 100 straight passes plus without a drop.
And the other guy who doesn't is Lockett. Here's Vinovich.
Ball start. Offense number 81. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
That's Van Nett to make it first down and 15. They'll move it back to the 46-yard line.
And of course, penalties were a big problem for the Seahawks team a week ago, and it's starting to bite them a little bit now.
D Ford is back in. Time of possession right there. Seattle really controlling the pace and the tempo. But it's first and 15 here. On the ground again. This time there is nowhere to go for Carson. Justin Houston stands him up. Exchanges Christmas greetings with him.
Yeah, I always thought Justin Houston was one of the smarter players that I watch play, that play in and play out. He has a way. Remember, we saw on the other side, D Ford let some bounce around him. That's not happening to this side. You want to run read option, any of that stuff. He has a way of deciphering and athletically making plays. And now that he's back in the lineup with D Ford on the other side and, of course, Chris Jones inside, they're tough.
Second and 17. Carson started one way, goes the other, but the coverage is great again. He's forced out of bounds by Daniel Sorensen, and Carson a little shaken on the play before a third down and 17. So he walks it off. And normally Mike Davis will come into the game.
I think Andy Reid right there was saying, guys, we're blitzing here, but stay in your lanes. Don't go out of your lanes. Do not let this guy run.
Let's see if they do indeed blitz on 3rd and 15. The send 4. Wilson.
They're spying Justin Houston.
Look out from behind, and then it's caught at the 42, and breaking a tackle is Ed Dixon for a first down. Needed 16 yards. Dixon had about 9 of them and then ran for the rest and a first down.
Justin Houston is going to spy. Watch him. He's not going to rush here. This is what Andy Reid was doing. Just stay in your lane. Don't let him run. Unfortunately, you gave Russell Wilson so much time, D Ford, before he could get there, and then you miss a tackle on the outside. So once again, the patience of Russell Wilson making a difference there.
Gain of 18 for Dixon, who was with the Ravens and won a Super Bowl with them a few years back. And now through the middle goes Mike Davis for a couple. Another long drive. This one at the 4-minute mark now for Seattle. Seattle's run 54 plays to only 35 for the Chiefs.
And for Bob Sutton, he definitely is blitzing a lot more at 22% on the year, up around 55% tonight. Unfortunately for him, counting that last one, Wilson with over 100 rating when they are blitzing. So he is taking advantage of that too.
Final minute of the 3rd. 2nd and 8. Wilson to the corner, and it is a touchdown. Doug Baldwin. I mean, once again, it's hard to cover him any better than Nelson has on the 2 catches on this drive. 27 yards.
Let's take a look. He cleanly makes the catch here. Let's see what hits down. Doesn't it look like his hip hit down inbounds? Terry, you want to take a shot?
Yeah. First of all, touching the pylon doesn't put him out of bounds. So does he get 2 feet and a hit or another body part down? There's 1 foot. Elbow. Looks like elbow comes down in bounds. That puts him in.
Did the hand hit out of bounds before the elbow?
That is the question. Of course, every scoring play automatically reviewed, and it's going to stand.
He's something special. He really is. Doug Baldwin reminds me so much of Steve Smith. They had the same tough attitude. What a play.
Janikowski for the point after. Doug Baldwin, undrafted. Said it was the worst moment of his life. He's sitting around. His name is not called. John Schneider goes out and gets him. And what a combo platter these guys have been. 24-17, Seattle. So here we go again. This is Dixon to kick off. And he'll drop kick it again. Last one went to the 3-yard line. There is the kick. But this time it's no good because it's out of bounds. And that means at the 40-yard line is where Mahomes is going to take over. Let's go to Michelle.
Well, I asked a number of teammates and coaches for 3 words to describe their quarterback. Words used to describe Russell Wilson are there in green, Patrick Mahomes in red, but notice the words in white. Those are terms the 2 quarterbacks had in common. Now, the larger the font, the more often that word was used, with competitive being the most frequent. Al, you mentioned contortionist. Yep. That's up there courtesy of Eric Berry, and Damian Williams wanted his 3 words about Mahomes to be, oh my gosh.
And a ventriloquist. Michelle, you're doing some great curating, getting 3 words to describe all the guys. I love it.
They kind of wanted to say Kermit the Frog because that's what they all talk about Patrick's voice.
7-point game at the 40. First play of this drive is play action and a pass that is low, intended for Tyreek Hill and incomplete. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
Well, the good thing about throwing on 1st down is that you do get a little bit more of that single coverage. So I think you'll see Andy Reid going that route a little bit as well. Ken Norton's done a good job changing things up on this team and really forcing them to be patient with their offense. When you have stars like this on offense, it's not easy to be patient. Now back to 2 deep safeties.
Both quarterbacks are 12 of 20 tonight at 60%. Mahomes stepping up and then throws, and that's low. Chris Conley, the intended receiver at the 50, Justin Coleman with the coverage, and it's 3rd down and 10.
There's Poona Ford there, one of the guys they got real excited about. 97. He's 5'11", and you can see him playing up under the shoulder pads of Jeff Allen. But he's starting to get some of that internal push to help what Frank Clark's doing around the edge.
Third and 10. Extra man rushing. Mahomes stepping away, and he just flings that out of bounds. Secondary did its work. Pressure was put on. 4th down.
Yeah, they're just showing it now. They're going to bring some pressure because it's pretty scary. You keep your eye on Tyreek Hill down the field, and I go, uh-oh, they have one-on-one coverage. But then what you don't see is Bobby Wagner on a blitz and getting right there. I tell you, that young man right there has had a good game. Akeem King has done some good stuff against Kelsey.
Colquitt's punt, returnable. Lockett steps out of bounds in front of the Kansas City bench at the 31-yard line. With 22 seconds remaining in the 3rd. Comparison there, both guys at about the same percentage. Both guys about the same yardage. Both guys 2 TDs, no picks.
Both
Wilson
guys pretty good.
Yes, sacked twice and Mahomes once. But both have had a lot better nights, though.
Yeah, but, you know, that's the kind of game we're playing, and it's really the way that the Seahawks have been playing now for a while. But remember, the Kansas City Chiefs have scored at least 26 points in every game this year, and no team has ever been at 25 points or more all season, so that would shatter a record.
Whoa. should be the final play of the quarter. That's Chris Jones making his presence felt. Chris Carson stopped at the line of scrimmage. They'll flip sides, and that will take us to the fourth quarter. In Seattle at the end of 3. Seattle 24, Kansas City 17, and Sunday Night Football resumes after these messages. Chris Collinsworth, Michelle DeFoya. Sunday night, what's at stake? So the Chiefs would clinch the AFC West and the #1 seed in the AFC with a win. The Seahawks will clinch a playoff berth with a win. The Seahawks could lose tonight and still clinch one next week by beating Arizona. The Chiefs would still be in contention for the division where they'd lose the game thanks to Baltimore knocking off the Chargers last night. Chargers would end their season at Denver, and the Chiefs would go home and end it with Oakland. And the great thing for the Chiefs, if they win the game, is they could rest their guys next week.
And maybe even more important for Seattle, because they'll have to play during that first wild card weekend.
Right. Second down and 11. Wilson throws near side, and the catch is made by Doug Baldwin, working on Nelson all night long. Short gain here, 3rd and 4.
You know, and that little RPO stuff is such a great option off of the way they've been running the football. So you get this whole package together, and then you get to a big 3rd down like this. And I'm just telling you, Russell Wilson may look like he's reading it, but sometimes I think he just says it's a big down. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to run it and try and be a better athlete than one of these two guys on the edge.
3rd and 3. Some showing blitz, but then they back off, and Wilson throws, and a little too deep. Intended for Baldwin. Over Tremont Smith covering on that play, and it's 4th and 3.
Oh boy, that's one you want back right there. You get to work against Tremont Smith. You got your best receiver on the outside. He puts a good inside fake move, and now takes off and is really wide open. That would have been game, set, and match possibly.
He knows it.
Usually he puts such mark on the ball that he always gives his receivers a chance.
Dixon, that's an ugly punt that will skid to a halt outside the 29-yard line. You know, I'm thinking of a lot of things. As always,
you're a deep guy.
Deep guy. You know what I'm thinking about right now? Andy Reid. You know Andy Reid's greatest gift to Philadelphia after 14 seasons? Nick Foles would have retired if Andy Reid had not brought him back to Kansas City. And that's what Foles told us. And I'm just thinking, how's that for a gift to the city of brotherly love?
Yeah, Nick Foles was ready to fold it up because he was only going to play for one guy, and that was Andy Reid. And here he is making magic again this year.
Right. He backed up Alex Smith for 1 year, then he went with Doug Peterson, and you know the rest of the story. Mahomes throws, that's Hill.
Look out.
First down, few more. Up to the 46 goes Tyreek. Tackled there by Trey Flowers, rookie out of Oklahoma State.
Well, you know you're going to see some pretty awesome things for Patrick Mahomes. I was watching, I just put on his tape, and I just watched like 100 of them in a row. And no two throws look alike. And very seldom does he put anything of his body into the throw. That's how live that arm is.
From the 46. Williams. And he's able to work his way to midfield. How's this? Never thought we'd say this in 2018, but thanks to Nick Foles. Because they have control, New England does, of the 2 seed and a bye and a home game, because Philadelphia came from behind in a wild one to beat the Texans. There you go.
Those Patriots, they have a great sense of humor.
Oh, sure. 2nd and 6. It's a laugh factory. DeMarcus Robinson out of bounds at the 44-yard line. Should be enough for the first down.
That should be. Andy Reid's on a roll, though, now, and he understands fully exactly what's going on with this, because he is now in a position where he's just starting to kind of turn this ball game over to Patrick Mahomes. He's been offered up the run game all night, and now he's saying, you know what? I'm going to let my potential MVP take over.
Fires a little low, and Conley short-hopped it. He said, no, no, no. The official right there to say yes, yes, yes. Second down and 10.
Yeah, the only bad part, Al, about being creative with your footwork sometimes, and he can get away with so much, is that every once in a while you're going to throw one in the dirt. Now, this isn't horrible footwork for him, but if he would be a little quicker with his feet, he wouldn't have to kind of flinch that thing up there like that. But he does so many magical things, you can't possibly, like Aaron Rodgers, you can't tell him not to do it.
And on second and 10, inside the 40-yard line. Williams there to make it third down and about 4.
You know, Al, one of the other untold stories of this game is the way that Bobby Wagner plays that middle read down the middle of the field. Travis Kelce on most teams can get behind the Mike linebacker in that deep seam, but Wagner's been running right with him all night.
Williams has gained 101 yards tonight. Carson 102. So each of the running backs is in triple figures.
Wagner's on the edge again. He blitzed from there last time off the left edge, and here he comes.
On third and 4, Mahomes throws, and that will be hauled in at the 5-yard line by Tyreek Hill. Justin Coleman with him step for step. Hill rolls over in agony, though, but he's able to hold on. And now he goes hopping back onto the field after a 32-yard gain.
Oh, boy. One of the most exciting players in the league here. Just almost impossible to cover, despite the fact Coleman's so good. Gets rolled up on, and if you're a fan of football, you hope he's okay.
Well, he got hurt in the Baltimore game. He was on the bench. Looked like he wouldn't come back, but he did. Very instrumental, and that come from behind overtime victory a few weeks back. So Hill is out, at least for the moment. Walking it off. It's first down and goal from the 4-yard line. Eric Dieter comes in, number 12, rookie out of Alabama, free agent. He's in the slot.
May not be quite as comfortable throwing now with this bunch in.
It's Dieter in motion, pass to Williams. And Williams looking for room, finds none. Taken out of bounds at about the 7-yard line. And Tyreek Hill is right back in the game.
Watch Bobby Wagner here take away the inside cut first. You'll see him going across the formation with this play. And watch him, he's going to take away the, nope, you're not going there, and then catch him on the outside. That's going to fit him a gold jacket one day.
2-yard loss. Second and goal. Hill, bottom of the screen. In motion now. Fake it to him, and then you get a flag. In fact, 2 of them, one on the outside and one at the line of scrimmage.
I think Mahomes thought that that was a dead play. He threw it down like it was somebody blowing the whistle, but the official who threw the flag did not blow the whistle, and he was standing there refereeing the play.
Ball start. Offense number 87. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
Called it on Travis Kelce.
That's the first time I've ever seen an offensive player signaling for illegal procedure, wanting them to call the illegal procedure to save the down. I've never seen that before.
Second and goal.
The big receiver, Kelvin Benjamin, off to the right if they wanted to throw an alley-oop.
It just picked him up from Buffalo, and the pass is not the way. He did go Benjamin's way, and Shaquille Griffin knocks it away. Third down and goal now.
He's something else, isn't he? He and his brother more than anything, but Shaquille Griffin did not take the bait outside and jumped all over this thing. He was such a fantastic young man to interview, and He talked about when his brother was drafted to this football team, he cried harder than when he was drafted. So close, they've been through so much, and now trying to play for a world championship.
Benjamin couldn't hold on. 3rd and goal now. Mahomes spins away, being chased down, running out of room. Was he out of bounds or not? Well, the catch is out of bounds. We know that. But even if he stayed in, it would be incomplete. Frank Clark chased him first, and then Quentin Jefferson, big number 99, was breathing down his neck, and it's 4th and goal.
Clark's going to get the initial pressure and flush him out. Went right around Eric Fisher. But then at the tail end of this play, you've got Quentin Jefferson chasing him and hit him while he was still in bounds, I think, right, Terry?
Legal hit. He's still in bounds. Right as he throws it, not a foul.
Now a 29-yard attempt for Harrison Butker. And that will make it a 4-point game. 10:28 left in regulation. Hawks up by 4. Built for the World's Fair, which was held here in Seattle back in 1962. All aglow on this Sunday night, with the temperature right now is 45 degrees. And the competition is hot at CenturyLink Field. A 4-point game with Butker. Sending it to the goal line, and coming out will be Lockett. And Lockett with a little crease brings it back out to the 31-yard line. Tackled there by Jordan Lucas.
All right, let's take a look at our next gen stats, powered by all our pals at AWS. And we're going to go right inside the game here. Take a look at this completion for the touchdown. Doug Baldwin, 38 yards in the air, less than a yard of separation. But when you have the hands of Doug Baldwin and Russell Wilson, the completion probability 34%. Those guys do it more often than not. That has been some combination over the years. And now with Baldwin back in the lineup, they're starting to look like this offense should look.
Drive begins at the 30-yard line with play action. Wilson firing to the 50-yard line. Lockett. He takes it to the KC 45-yard line. The sure-handed Lockett talked about that perfect passer rating between these two guys early on. And for Lockett tonight, 3 catches for 54 yards.
You cannot cover for this long. Everything is going this way, and you're going to see Russell Wilson come back the other way and stand there by himself. I mean, he could have stood there as long as he wanted to. 5 seconds. I don't care what kind of defense you're playing. You are not going to hold up.
Carson is the back. Bring the fullback Trey Madden in. Wilson escapes. Does a Houdini. Down the middle he runs and slides to a stop at the 17-yard line. Alan Bailey almost sacked him and said the next thing you know, it's a 27-yard gain.
And they're even rushing 5, so that gap is narrowed, as I think Russell Wilson will tell you. But then when you are blitzing and you're playing man coverage, there's nobody to play the quarterback. He sees that. He knows if he can break that one arm tackle, there's nobody there. He is very, very, very clever with the ball in his hands.
60 yards on the ground for Wilson, who led the team last year in rushing by a mile because of injuries to running backs. Through the middle, gaping hole. Carson inside the 10. And Carson tonight has rushed for 112.
Carson was telling us last night he always watched Eric Dickerson. Well, ED'd be proud of that one right there. When you get that combination, like a Marshawn Lynch, of the power, and guys have to set up to try and make a tough tackle against you, and then you add the spin move, now you got something working.
Talk about a combination. Seahawks lead the league in rushing, as you see. And Kansas City with a porous rush defense, unless you've got 205 ground yards. 1st and goal. Wilson, great protection, and then throws, and that's incomplete. little too far for Baldwin. Delivered by Smith. It'll be second down and goal with a little over 8 to play.
But once again, Al, we're seeing these long drives, and the tempo of the game has been entirely with the Seattle Seahawks. They seem to come up with these long, drawn-out, run-oriented drives every single time that you think the Chiefs are about to get back in it.
And there it is, 10 more minutes of possession time against Bob Sutton's defense.
Straight up man coverage now. If you have a pick play, run it now.
Wilson shovels it back to Mike Davis to the 3-yard line. He goes. The backup back, Daniel Sorensen with the tackle, and now you've got a third down and goal.
Well, now we always talk about what the offense is going to do. Let's flip it over, because right now it's Eric Berry time. I don't know exactly what Bob Sutton has in his bag of tricks down there, but now you need your X factor to come up with a play for you. And you can see them all kind of gravitate to him. It'll be interesting to see what this plan is.
Brian Schottenheimer sending this play on a 3rd and goal. Field goal, of course, is a 1-possession lead. And timeout is taken here. Touchdown, obviously, a 2-possession lead. Russell Wilson, what kind of a closer is he since 2012 when he came into the league? Most TD passes in the 4th quarter, highest passer rating in the 4th quarter. And then he goes since 2012, 102.7 is the highest in NFL history in the 9th inning. And this run here, a near sack. Well, we've seen him do this so many times in his 7 years. And he's trying to do something else this year, trying to have a winning record his first 7 years in the league, and that's something that's only been done a couple of times in history.
Yeah, I mean, he says there's no easy way out. You just have to do the work, and he'll tell you straight up. We talked to him. So I want to be the best that's ever played this game. And he works like he wants to be the best that's ever played this game.
Comes up on the 3rd and goal. Davis flanks him. Wilson to the back of the end zone, and that's incomplete. It's a flag down. Jerron Brown was the intended receiver. Chiefs are the most penalized team in the league this season.
Prior to the pass, holding. Defense number 39. Half the distance to the goal. Automatic first down.
And one more. That's Smith.
It's just tough when you have to replace arguably your best corner with a young rookie. You're going to get some mistakes like this in the clutch moments, and there was the handout, attempted spin out of it by Baldwin, and called by the officials. So, boy, I think I could make a living being an official. I don't think I'd call anything. This play.
Joey Hunt, of course, eligible. That's the 5th first down by penalty tonight for Seattle, and Wilson is throwing, and that is caught. Ed Dixon for the touchdown. That's Dixon's 2nd big play of the night.
Well, Russell Wilson just said, Patrick, I saw yours. I'm going to one-up you here. Coming off to his right with that little flick of his, like he's playing second base for the New York Yankees, no problem at all. The creative minds, the youthful creative minds on display at quarterback tonight is just so much fun to watch.
Two of Seattle's 4 touchdowns tonight from the tight ends, Vanette and now Dixon. Janikowski, who was shaken up earlier, boots that one through, and we are halfway through the 4th quarter on Sunday night, and Seattle has taken the lead by 11. Near sack, Wilson off to the races, and it's paid off with this touchdown. 31-20. Russell Wilson once again working his 4th quarter magic. It's an 11-point lead, 31-20. Janikowski now will kick off after Dixon had kicked off twice to the 5-yard line. Smith, Draymond Smith, Brings it back out to the 28-yard line. So the season ends next Sunday. We will have the last game of the year. It's going to be Indianapolis against Tennessee. The winner gets to the playoffs and the loser goes home. As usual, coverage begins with football night at 7 Eastern. And both teams today, or at least yesterday when you consider Tennessee knocking off Washington, staying alive. And barring a tie in that one, either Baltimore or Pittsburgh is going to go home after next week, with Baltimore holding the upper hand. Little screen. Williams starts to stumble and moves forward up to the 33-yard line. Hit there by Reed. It'll be 2nd down and 5.
Yeah, and now the pace is going to quicken a little bit, and you see Patrick Mahomes like he's a jockey on a horse, sort of whipping in behind him here. That was the signal, so something's going to giddy up on this play.
Mahomes over the middle, tight window there, and hits Conley for a 1st down out to the 46-yard line.
You know, and I'm not so sure that Patrick Mahomes doesn't play better like this. You know, a young guy with all this confidence, just get him up. He's not thinking about anything now. Let's just go.
Street ball. Kelsey tackled. Wagner is there along with Hill at the 48-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 3.
I remember all the comparisons to Brett Favre when Mahomes was coming out, and there is a little bit of that in his mentality in these situations.
Yeah, Andy had Brett Favre when he was an assistant under Mike Holmgren in Green Bay, and now Mahomes is going to get rid of it, and it's incomplete. Frank Clark almost had his 13th sack of the season, but he gets it away. Incomplete. 3rd down and 3.
You know, and we've seen Patrick Mahomes, he threw that one right-handed, but we've seen him throw a lot of left-handed passes this year, completed one of them. And here's Frank Clark coming around the edge. And so we talked about it a little bit. And I said, why do you do that so much? And he goes, usually it's just to throw the ball away, and I can't get the ball going in my other hand.
Yeah, that completion came early in the season in the game at Denver. Now you got, that is Reed. Jaron Reed is now one of their key guys, having a great season. 2 sacks last week, 8.5 on the year. Has to come out for at least one play.
Yeah, and they really don't have other pass rushers to speak of. It's Clark and Jaron Reed, and then a pretty good fall off after that.
Rasheem Green, a rookie from USC, comes in Reed's spot. 3rd and 3.
They are not afraid of playing man coverage against this team. It's impressive to watch.
Sidearms it. It's going to be caught, but short of a 1st down. Travis Kelce, Akeem King is right there to cover. He's going to be about 1.5 yards shy of the 1st. And down by 11 with less than 6 to play. Andy, of course, is going to go for it.
That's the 2nd week in a row now. They've completed to Kelce on 3rd and short, and he wasn't beyond the sticks.
Yep, happened against the Chargers. Kansas City 10 of 11 on 4th down this season. Mahomes will get it with his legs and a lot more out of bounds at the 23-yard line. So the coverage was good on Seattle's end, but Mahomes gets out of that pocket and off he goes for a gain of 22.
Well, he's starting to understand pass rushing too, because this is going to be a slide protection to the left. Look at the gaping hole off to the right. And he's just too athletic for anybody on that defensive line to keep up.
So Casey now 11 of 12 on 4th down this season. Mahomes again, that shoulder shave to get away, and the pass incomplete, intended for a West. 2nd down as Mahomes gets decked, and Pete exercised over something. What did he see that we didn't? Trying to figure it out. Might have wanted a false start on.
I didn't think it was.
Yeah, Mitchell Schwartz.
Yeah, I mean, he is really jumping off the snap count.
Yeah. That's what he was moaning about. 2nd and 10. Mahomes slides away again. West makes the catch. Trying to get the first down, and he does. Angles his way down to the 11-yard line, tackled by Bobby Wagner. First down with under 5 minutes left in the fourth.
You know, he really is starting to understand situations so much better now, too, just like Russell Wilson does. But as they drop into zones, he checks it down underneath. Now a little bit more.
Mahomes again, flushed out, throws.
Wow.
And it's caught for the touchdown. DeMarcus Robinson. How in the world? Puts it right on the money. Coverage is good. And Mahomes again working magic. Griffin covering on the play. Touchdown.
He's awesome. Watch this. He's going to throw it outside the field of play. This is how perfect this throw is. He's going to reach across the boundary, still get his feet in. And for somebody like Shaquille Griffin, he's going, you got to be kidding me. I've got to cover the field and outside the field. Yep. What a great job with that back left foot. It kicked into the heel of Griffin, and he still got it down.
We're going to go for two to try to make it 31-28. 2-point attempt coming here. It was just confirmed by the powers that be on Park Avenue. And Damian Williams is in the backfield with Mahomes. Hill wide to the right, Conley in the slot. Kelsey there on the right side for the 2-point attempt. Hill comes in motion. Mahomes fakes it to him. Mahomes is going to run for it. Gets the 2 points. How do you stop him?
That was as impressive a drive by a young player as I've seen in a long time. The scary thing is, you know what he can do physically? Now he's starting to get it mentally as well. Look at this throw. Woo!
And he was a special, special man. Touchback here. You know, Chris, we had a chance to, visit with him occasionally, but he was interested in science, in medicine. There's his sister Jody, the executive of the estate, philosophy, music, philanthropy, gave away billions of dollars. And it's a cliche to say, the guy left the world a better place, but this guy left the world a better place.
Yeah, and I think Pete Carroll summed it up pretty well when he said, he took that money and he made an impact. And, people are going to have options in life, and he had a lot of options. But Pete was talking about all the trying to solve Ebola and the issues in the depth of the sea and the oceans, and he really took it upon himself as being a blessed man that he should try and go do something, and he did.
And, of course, that's what the PGA, the decal on the Seahawks uniform, stands for. Paul G. Allen. Up to the 30-yard line now goes Chris Carson. Reggie Ragland makes the tackle. Second down.
And now the Achilles heel has to be taken care of for the Kansas City Chiefs. Can they stop the run? Bob Sutton has to find a way to at least force Russell Wilson to throw the football here. They can't let him go on another one of those run after run after run, milk the clock here at this point.
Well, Eric Berry in the game right now. He was on a pitch count last week, played in the second half this week, but not in at the moment. Second down and 6.
Here comes a pressure look, and Russell Wilson knows it. He's on play.
The clock at 1 as he claps for the snap and fires to the right side, and that's dropped by Doug Baldwin. That's incomplete. Coverage there by Tremont Smith to make it 3rd down and 6. And not often does the football fall out of Doug Baldwin's hands, and Doug, who's been besieged by injuries all season long, slow to get up.
Here's Baldwin in the slot. We talked about it earlier. When he goes to the corner, for some reason, he's always open. And this is a heck of a play because he caught that ball and it just got stripped out of there. And that was the kind of break they needed, because now their pass rushers are going to have a chance. But you could see Russell Wilson, as soon as he saw that blitz look, he went right to the audible.
So Baldwin has to come off on a 3rd down and 6. Jerron Brown will supplant him, at least for this next play. Eric Murray comes in at safety.
The play all night here has been Russell Wilson keeping the football. whether it be, and it really has been mostly in scramble situations, and he sort of empties this backfield to give himself some space.
Wilson on the 3rd and 6. Huge play here. And what about forward progress? Catch made David Moore, but it's Nelson with the coverage. Of course, all the Seahawks are yelling, it's a first down. There's Pete Carroll. Where are they going to spot this? They say he was not out of bounds. They wind the clock, and they're going to give him what appears to be a first down, and they do.
I think they're going to give him forward progress right there. Terry, what do you see?
Well, he actually recovers his feet and starts moving forward again. I really don't think it is forward progress at that point.
But if they're marking the ball, there it is.
You can see the
that is what they ruled. And that would not be reviewable.
They give him the first down. It's 1st and 10 from the 34. And Chris Carson gets banged down immediately by Noddy. And the Chiefs are going to take a timeout. They're first.
Well, we talked about it right off the top, but when these two guys get together, it is going to be a show, and it has been. And it's been the throws that other quarterbacks can't or don't or won't make that has just made such an impression. Both of these guys with their feet, with their ability to improvise, with these off-angle throws, with their understanding of defenses, and just how to give their guys a chance to make plays. It has just been a sensational performance. If you like football only a little bit, you have to have enjoyed this show with these two quarterbacks tonight.
What I love the most about that sidearm of Mahomes, that was a perfect spiral.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. Look at him.
No wobble, no anything. Doug Baldwin is back in the game. 2nd down and 12.
Andy Reid's thinking, let me get it back to him just one more time. Everybody up. This is pure blitz.
And Wilson's going for it all, and it is somehow at the 21-yard line. Lockett holds it in. And Charvarius Ward has to turn around and go, are you kidding?
Al, I think Russell Wilson is the best deep ball thrower in the game right now. And the reason, look at the height he gets on this football. He's going to throw it straight up in the air. And as a receiver, what happens is it comes straight down. So even though the defense is right there, it gives you a chance to pin him on your back, extend your arms, and make the play. If that ball comes in at a low trajectory, you can't do that. That is a phenomenal throw by Russell Wilson.
45-yard gain. Back to the air. He wants to go. Instead, he's going to get sacked back at the 32. And that is Chris Jones, who had a half a sack before. He now has sacks. He got a half before anyway, so that gave him 11 straight games with a sack, a record.
Boy, Chris Jones is really going to be something in the future. He is just learning how to play this game, and for a guy that big, learning how to play the edges of offensive linemen all season long, he's been phenomenal. Look at the altitude on this pass as it reaches the apex and sort of drops straight down into the bucket of Tyler Lockett, who once again has made a huge deep catch play in this game. Look at this. Watch the angle of this throw. Russell Wilson knows exactly what he's doing.
Master of the deep throws. Among active guys, only Drew Brees has a higher completion percentage than Wilson does on throws of 20 or more. After a timeout taken by KC again on 2nd and 19, Wilson throws. It's one-handed and caught. Flag is down. Baldwin holds it in. They're going to call him down at the 1-yard line, but let's see about the flag, which is at the 15.
There was a lot of pushing and shoving.
Holding. Defense number 35. Penalty decline. Result of the play. First down.
Penalty on Ward, and they're going to spot the ball just shy of the goal line.
It's one thing to get arc on the ball when you're standing in the pocket. Another when you're throwing a corner route on the move. You can see all the infighting, a little shove there at the end by Baldwin as well that did not get called. But again, Wilson moving to his left, able to drop it straight down from that high trajectory, and Baldwin just never misses. He never misses.
First and goal with 2.5. Beginning in regulation, and it's Carson who fights his way into the end zone. Chris Carson, his second touchdown of the night. Took him only 2 minutes to go 75 yards.
This is Chris Carson just saying, I am better than you. Nobody's going to block. Daniel Sorensen on the outside. Carson had him spied up the whole way. You can't tackle me. And we've seen it game after game.
Extra point by Seabass is good. And the Seattle Seahawks are back up on top by 10 with 2:29 left in the fourth.
Two sensational throws by Russell Wilson. This one in the pocket, thrown straight up in the air, drops down just outside where the defender can possibly defend. Beautiful job by Tyler Lockett. Then the other superstar on the move to his left. He does the same thing with the trajectory. Up in the air, one-handed catch. Sensational. You want to add a name to the MVP list and conversation? Throw in Russell Wilson. He's been that good tonight, and even gave him a little shove to make sure that he got the go-ahead touchdown. Put him up by 10. This is fun football tonight.
It's great. Seahawks trying to make sure that their season will be extended. To get the wild card, of course, they will be either 5 or 6 in the seeding. At the moment, they'd be 5 with Minnesota 6. Short kickoff. Fielded at the 8-yard line. Tremont Smith is into Seattle territory. Another big run back for him on a Sunday night. He pulled off a 97-yarder in New England earlier in the season. And he sets them up at the 31 after a 61-yard run back.
Well, Janikowski took a little heat a week ago for not making a tackle, and he's going to get one run right past him here as well. That is a gaping hole right up the middle. And Janikowski couldn't even get a finger on him hardly. You could see with that bad leg, he was trying to make him change directions, and he didn't do much.
Dave Tobe, the great special teams coach, applauds that effort. Ball at the 31. Holmes will dump it off, set up a screen. Damian Williams with blocking, and they'll take it inside the 20 for another first down. Kansas City only has one timeout, and it'll stop at the 2-minute warning. Can they get a play off before the 2-minute warning? They're trying to. And apparently they do, but it's, or they hope they didn't. They hope they didn't, because he was going to get sacked. Let's get the call here from Vinovich.
Clock inadvertently stopped at 2:01. We're at the 2-minute warning.
Never seen that happen. Inadvertently, okay. Whatever. 2-minute warning. Look at a scene at CenturyLink Field. Their team up by 10. 2 minutes to play. Pete Carroll's squad looking for their 9th win. Andy Reid trying to cement that #1 seed. And Patrick Mahomes trying to effect the big comeback. It'll be a first down at the Seattle 19-yard line.
Kelsey hasn't had much of an impact. It's go time now, though.
Set Kelsey up on a wing to the left side as Mahomes retreats, throws too deep. Intended for Kelsey. Akeem King doing a nice job tonight covering on the play, 2nd and 10.
You know, I think they found somebody in Akeem King. This has been a tough assignment all night, and he has been right in his hip pocket. Maybe that's the biggest reason why he hasn't had much of an impact. Right there, not getting his head around, but he has been right in the face of Kelsey all night long.
Conley goes wide left. Tyreek Hill is in the slot. Mahomes surveying, takes off, gets tackled from behind by Frank Clark. Gets up in a hurry. They only have one timeout. It'll be 3rd down and 5.
And again, we've talked about it a lot, but if you have to score twice. So if you don't make it here, you will kick the field goal and then try the onside.
3rd and 5. Mahomes reversing, fires sidearm, and that's out of bounds and incomplete. So now you can bring in the field goal unit, try the onside kick. So here comes Butker and company.
2 deep safeties in the middle of the field, so not a lot of space. He's going to get double teamed there by McDougal. He's done a great job coming back after missing practice all week. There's the coverage on the other side. Griffin having a nice game tonight too. Pretty well buckled up on the outside.
Going to be a 32-yard attempt. Right down the middle to make it a 7-point game. So it comes down to the onside kick.
And you know, Al, the onside kick has been a little strange this year as well, because you only are 1 yard from where the ball is kicked, so you don't get that normal run up that allows you to get there about the time when the ball hits that bounce way in the air and then comes down. So it hasn't been as easy this year as it has been in some years past.
Been much tougher. Volkswagen postgame report next. Michelle interviewing the stars of the game. Got a lot of guys to choose from. Liam breaks down the playoff picture. Chris and I look ahead to next Sunday's game. Will be in Nashville. Colts Titans to end the regular season, with the winner going to the playoffs and the loser watching on television.
And now to put some numbers behind what we just talked about. Onside kicks recovered 8% of the time this year, 21% last year. So this rule change has had a major impact on this play.
Less than half.
Look at this.
Yeah, Butker.
So he's going to try and kick right underneath it, make it bounce twice, kick way up in the air, and give his guys a chance. And Seattle's going to call a timeout and talk about it.
Second charge timeout.
Yeah. Taking a look at the positioning. So they want to talk about the likely physics of kicking the ball from that position.
Well, they know what they can do and can't do with the ball on the tee like that. I mean, you see these guys, the kickers are kind of sick. They go off to the side and they do all kinds of weird things. I think my favorite one was the one in New Orleans, right to start the second half of that Super Bowl, New Orleans Super Bowl against Indy. That spinner that came out of there and nobody could pick it up.
And it was a shocker too. Nobody expected that. So Mahomes can only watch and hope to get one more opportunity.
So Nick Van Ette is the guy they're trying to protect, number 81, so that he can make the catch. He's a tight end, big guy, sitting right back there. They're going to try and protect him and let him catch the football.
If it doesn't hit the ground, well, forget that right now, and it will go out of bounds. So there was Van Ette kicking in his direction, and instead the Seattle Seahawks can pretty much
out of bounds. 7. Ball placed in the spot, out of bounds spot. Seattle ball, first down.
Kansas City can only stop the clock once, And the Seattle Seahawks, barring a total disaster, will cement a playoff berth. They're back in the playoffs. They had a 5-year run, and then they didn't make it last year. The high hopper out of bounds.
Yeah, they got what they wanted. I think he kicked it just a tad too hard because the second hop, there it is, the second big hop, but it had too much juice.
Dice went off the table. From the 50. Well, the Chiefs, if they wish, can stop the clock, but it's going to be to no avail.
I still say, regardless of outcome, this game will do a lot of good for Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs as we head into the playoffs. This is one of those that you sort of tighten the screws on your football team and understand this is what it's going to be like, guys. Whether we're at home or on the road, it doesn't matter. This is the kind of intensity that you're going to see. But we're seeing some of these high-flying offenses now sort of coming back to earth, and some defenses and running games and starting to have an impact down the stretch.
If they win next week, they'll still be the #1 seed. I tell you, the Chargers are probably pulling their hair out right now. That made a ton of difference. Otherwise, they'd be in the driver's seat. Instead, you know, the interesting thing about what's going to happen in the West, the #1 seed is going to come out of the West, and the other guys are going to be #5. So the 1 seed, of course, the road to the Super Bowl goes through your stadium. If you're 5, you get probably 3 road games. The only home game you could get is if the 6 got to the conference championship game. And this will be the final play of the night. And the Seattle Seahawks, who started the year with a record of 0-2 with losses at Denver and Chicago, turned it around, and it's probably as good a coaching job as Pete Carroll has done. I mean, he's had some great years. He has a Super Bowl ring. He has a college national championship. Only Barry Switzer and Jimmy Johnson have won the national titles in college and a Super Bowl. Turned it around, transformed the team. Legion of Boom is gone. Russell Wilson is still there, though. That helps. And the two of them are going to exchange jerseys. Become a little bit of a tradition.
Special show those two put on tonight.
38-31 is the final score. Volkswagen postgame report next after these messages from your NBC station.